just recorded it to the
Okay, started.
cool. All right. Hi guys. I'm here with Sean Bond of Psionic League. Hello, Sean.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I guess if I would have to describe you in a nutshell, you're a psychic teacher, realm grid worker, warrior, or wizard.
Oh,
Like,
it's
like
nice of you
what?
to say.
Yeah. Well, what would your descriptive term be on?
So I'm very science-based, and the science it goes into a field that barely anyone's covering. So I'm like re-bringing it back into our collective field. The current terms for it are psionics, and it's a military brought together word of science of sounds per second in an equation to create an outcome of mind over matter, accumulated essentially psychic abilities around the planet, many different types, superhuman abilities, all that and from many different cultures and brought together in multiple projects in the military to then train soldiers and specialists in like the Project Stargate and remote viewing, remote influencing, remote assassination, all kinds of telekinesis, and then underground military projects that people aren't allowed to know about. But I'm bringing out because I'm also wanting to bring out a psionic renaissance, is we're a psionically emergent species with infinite potential. And there's amazing things every one of you can do. Everyone's got gifts. They go their whole lives without opening presents. And also amateur archaeologist in that it pulled me in and shows me to explore the world, and I'll go to all these different places of power. I can just scan into them, read what's going on, psychometry, psychic track, and go into different nodal points of energy ley line grids that give off certain rare energies from the center of the earth going upward and then expand outward to influence the collective consciousness above. And yeah, it's been powerful going to all these places, pyramids. Got over hundreds of pyramids I've been to all around the world. I'm in Mexico right now, so we're going to explore. I'm in Mexico City, so I'm exploring. We're packed into. Nobody knows, but I've like asked this question to like some experts into like how many pyramids are around the area, and they said in Mesoamerica alone that they found or with LiDAR and all that, there's being found over tens thousands of pyramids in Mesoamerica alone. And that blew me away. I'm like, what? That changes history. We're lazy
I
as
mean, in
fuck,
the
or
Guatemalan
there's a whole
Basin,
different thing going
yeah,
on.
in the Guatemalan Basin alone too, like not like, by Tikal and all those other ones, when they've done the LiDAR scans, like yeah, it's they used to say that I think there used to be a million Mayans or whatever, like no, there used to be like 300 million or something. Like it was crazy populated. Like so yeah, there's a whole okay. So before we start other stuff, because there's a lot I could go into on that, what do you think happened to the Mayan?
So like conjecture, and this is my like everything you're hearing here. Well, not everything, because I'm gonna give a lot of foundational evidence and stuff. But in my humble opinion, from hearing all these different concepts, I mean, it's gonna probably blow away mainstream science in the concepts of what, besides like some certain percentages probably being wiped out by illnesses, them immigrating to different locations is what the mainstream science will say, and like they're using the pyramids to attract rain and honor the gods and do some type of gridding equation that has multiple outputs based on what I read in effect. And if they say if the place dried up and they couldn't the leaders and the shamans,
Wow, yeah.
kings couldn't attract rain, they would be killed and then either replaced. And if that still didn't work enough, then they would move on to another location. Now, that being said, it's like interesting the rain output here of some of the rain god authorities of consciousness interacting with being able to bring in rain have been captured and then imprisoned in parts and their authority being stolen, and that end up being inherited by both the Mexican government and places in, for some reason, Los Angeles.
Mm.
Um, And when we freed them, it just kept raining for weeks. And this, you can look up memes. They keep talking about T-Lock, the rain god. There are memes coming out of like, "What's that? You want more rain?" And it just keeps coming. It's like every day, this whole from spring all summer into like September, it's been raining like crazy, and like floods and all that. So there's some restoring going on to that goes to a rainforest. It used to be like very like deserty in certain places of Mexico, and now it's just like green like everywhere. But and then less of the northern part. But okay. So also going into mines, so there's theories on this, like were they taken, or did they go? Some may have gone underground. There's some interesting inner Earth civilizations. Some talking about a breakaway civilization of them, interaction with some certain ETs, which will go into like evidence for some ETs of the past. Taking them both negative and positive ones, and then on a possible ascension is one of them. I'm seeing it as like a big event where they had to there were people and other sentient beings seeing and perceiving in the future that they would go away if they didn't take them in some way.
Mm.
So both. So a lot of those all in one in different
Yeah,
percentages,
you know,
I'd say.
like Chaco Canyon is like they left in the middle of the night, like meaning like they left with pots full of turquoise jewelry, and you know, like they did. I mean, what, you wouldn't take your turquoise jewelry with you after, like it says that the mainstream says they left because of drought, but no one knows where they went to, and that, like, you know, like there's a lot of weird theories about that, but there aren't any. There's like 30 skeletons that they've ever found in excavations there, and it could have housed like 100,000 plus people in these kivas and these pueblos that they had there. So it doesn't it doesn't make sense. And like when I was a kid, I was told by some of the Native Americans here that, oh, no, the Chaco Canyon people were taken. They were basically, they went to another dimension. And I think that that's kind of more what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I agree. Like some of them will have been like there's different devices I've heard throughout my travels that elevate a person to another dimension. So that could be part of it. Some there I do read there's inner Earth groups and like some that have ships uh that and then they trained up civilization minds to be a higher civilization, as well as some of the more negative ET groups might have used the event to take people and then
Harvest
harvest
people.
them
Yeah.
and then possibly make a food resource or something out of them. But I'd say that there's enough of these to where enough of them are surviving in both positive, negative, and possibly some interesting
Oh,
spiritual,
and some of
political.
them did survive in real life too, and are actually
Yeah,
in Mexico. So yeah,
exactly.
or Central America as well. But yeah, okay. So how did you get started? Tell me this journey. Like, when did you become psychic, and how did you get into this?
Throughout my life as a young kid, I'd be visited by ETs and an interesting extra-dimensional witch that for every time I feel into it, I'm like, oh God, I'll just keep visiting over and over again in these dream-like scenarios that seemed very realish, and would have like a pathway that connected to my house, in a like meadow, and then it opened up to a village and like a forest around a village town that had some advanced. It was kind of like Diagon Alley kind of thing. There was like firehouses, movie theaters. There were like stores that just like gave all these cool, powerful objects and candy and other stuff. And then this witch in a cottage would keep visiting me, and she still visits me to like this year. It just goes back to that town though every time. It's just weird. And then they would teach me magic and some other things.
So she's good. You
And
like her. She's a good witch.
yeah, I like her. Yeah, there's definitely some positive extra-dimensional witches. When I say that, like they're capable, they're like a Syrian offshoot, Syrian A. that like interacts with both lawn skulls, elves, and like their own kind of humanoid shape-shifting kind of class that goes to an extra-dimensional witch and wizard that when I track them back. And they're to the I exponentially implying being able to control space and temporal dilation to where they can make little pocket dimensions in like a woods in a cabin, kind of like Baba Yaga, but like she's more of a negative type. And then life extension in different ways. Then there are a bunch of like being taken places for days, weeks, months, years, and sometimes, and then being put back as if I never left. So my mind growing in capacity quite heavily. But being in the matrix and indoctrination school just like pushed it down to where, oh, forget about that. Just it's like fade from your mind. And then it being triggered later, I'm like, holy shit. And the no one you can talk to about this, and if you do, they just change the subject or insult you or something, and then you just
Right.
move on. And so once I get out of indoctrination school, a lot of the things came unimpeded, and then I was able to research them and go down rabbit holes as I kept getting more experiences of ETs visiting, talking, telepathy, abduction from negative ones, demons attacking, angels visiting, me calling for help, and a lot of spiritual unfoldment to where I can't not believe it's real. Experiencing other realms, heavenly places, other like part of the nine primary incarnating realms of the tree of Yggdrasil of Earth. Like, but
Okay.
there are billions for Earth. And then also having to be put into like a little pocket void prison realm that was very hellish and had some predators for a long period of time, and then put back in my body after that. And I was like, oh my God. And that was traumatic. I did not want that to exist for a while, but then a lot of sadness and heaviness and emotions coming out, and then pointing to that and making you revisit it, and then learning. And then all this knowingness expanded with my heart because I got attacked by a big demon, and it turned up my empathy all the way up to a high level, and I could feel everything deeply. And it turned my ability to absorb negative energy while doing that. So it was torturous. And then I asked for help. A big light came out of my heart, my higher self source, and a dragon guide came out and taught me to you have the right to defend yourself from things that want to harm you. And then it taught me how to charge up my fist with chi and punch it out my space. All this heaviness released off me, and it got really light, and all these visions turned on. And I was like, holy fuck, it's real. And then going into this back and forth with as you become a bright light and turn on more abilities safely, a lot of moths attract the flame, so I had a lot of targeting. The category, if you look this up, is targeted individuals. A lot of people deal with this. I got well known online for healing targeted individuals, super soldiers, and people that just have things that they don't know how to get rid of, and just like years worth of like having them send as much of different types of technology of science at me, and me having to learn how to counter it in order to survive. Otherwise, I'd die. So I had to learn very quickly. And then I got empathy leans into being able to feel into stuff. You can know it, you can translate it, you can change it. And then that amplified my knowingness field of my heart to where I can translate more until it started like minutes and then instantly. And then went into Akashic record reading, soul, and DNA, where I could just translate things I focus on. And then everything that was attacking me, I would focus on to figure out how it works, what it is, what it's using against me, and then I'd everything they used against me made me stronger. I gained the technology of that, and then became immune to it, and then had like in alignment with natural law, do no harm, take no shit thing. You're allowed to defend yourself, making my boundaries strong enough to defend against that, increasing my camouflage, offense, protection, defense, camouflage, fortressing, loving detachment, safety bubble, all these things to make the abilities stabilized and strong and protected, so I then it could advance into other fields. And then just went around exploring once it was safe enough, and learned telepathy, psychic tracking, turning on the third eye's light so it was stronger, and then go out and explore things and try to make the world a better place. as the children or if they're growing to become this advanced, powerful, change the whole multiverse species.
Okay, well, awesome. So then you basically have been doing this your whole life, and it's been like a series of self inner work training that's gotten you there, right? So, and you do this for other people. You try to train them and get them to another level where they can kind of get their heel on, I guess you would say.
I like that. Get your healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very analytical. I started very scientific skeptical with a skeptical family that were, kind of, not be super friendly to this stuff. So I had to get from the ground up, like with large amounts of evidence. And so I like accumulated hundreds of videos and evidence of like concepts into consciousness and these forms and then these experiences would keep happening. So I was like, oh well, I can't not believe that, so I'll research it. And
Yeah.
then I'm very analytical, and my knowingness scanning ability is very well to where I can translate very finite details. So I reverse engineer, I find an ability, I reverse engineer it, and then I teach it to others, and everyone can learn these things, and I can teach every ability that I have. So I got it to that point. So it's fun. So
That's
everyone's gonna be like bringing this out, and as it explodes in this psionic renaissance, more people will just do this more easily automatically as like the foundational masters make it easier, and it will be like the 100 monkey effect, and they'll build like it coming out in savants and like these super psychic kids and stuff like that are being found in China and stuff.
And you, okay, so how, do you work one-on-one with people or do you do like courses or how does that?
Well, mostly one-on-one consultations, but I'll be doing more like course classes, been doing like video procs online for some of the abilities, and just have not super amount of time, but as I get things into gear with the certain amount of time that I have, I'm recording more things. And then, I just keep learning new abilities. So depending on who asks what questions, I do a lot of interviews. A lot of free abilities I put out online just in those interviews because I'm not like stingy or anything with it.
Cool. Okay, so like let's talk about like your how long have you been living in Mexico? How long has this been
A
happening?
little over 2 years, like
Okay, and
three
then
going
when
on
did
two.
you get into these so you're into the I don't even know what we call these because at first I was calling them like the El Toro Mexican artifacts, but you're saying that they're not just in El Toro, they're like everywhere. So like
Mhm.
they're these ancient Mexican artifacts that are that a lot of people are skeptical about, but that you've actually been digging them in Mexico and like yeah, so like tell us this whole journey, like how this happened.
Oh, it's been beautiful. I learned about it a while ago in some people bringing out besides Ancient Aliens and um Nassim Harriman had like a few of his presentations leaked, and I was like going down deep rabbit holes with esoteric knowledge back when YouTube was less censored. It would just like pop in. It was like the universe was speaking. Did you ever have a thing when you were going down rabbit holes? It was like the universe speaking to you, like bringing
And then yeah,
videos to
it
you.
brings more stuff into your well, I mean that's what's happening to me with these Mexican artifacts now. All of a sudden I have like four or five friends that own them and then like yeah, and I mean, yeah. So yeah, yes, I have had that. It's lovely actually.
Yeah, it's like the reality expands. I remember hearing a story where, like back in Native American time and Mexico and stuff, where a lot of people didn't see the European ships come in, and the shamans were like the first ones to see them. And then as people they pointed them out more, they could see them. It's like reality bubbles work intricately, where there's like a filter on a reality of the safety veil kind of thing that like expand as things integrate more and when we something comes into our consciousness field and awareness, then it starts opening more and more and you start seeing it everywhere and And
Yeah,
it's very
apparently there is some tribe in like the Amazon that doesn't have the color, the word for the color blue or something, and or red, I can't remember. There's some color that they don't have, so they don't see it. And then there's I think parts of Russia have like let's say, we have royal blue and light blue and turquoise and this we have all these names for blue, but they have something like couple hundred more names for the color blue than we do, and supposedly they can actually see more of that color range than we can because it's in their awareness. Like they've built that in their birth. So yeah, I could see how that's
deep.
pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
and I think there's a lot deeper stuff with color technology and like the mantis shrimp sees a bunch more colors than us, and the concepts of what that can allow and transfer. I've also heard like some of and interacted with that some ET ships will be emitting a light that doesn't seem to be coming from anywhere but everywhere, and it's like this type of material instead of reflecting light off and then emitting a color, it emits the light and the color itself, and it's like a more vibrant and giving motion and consciousness feeling to it. You know, it's deep
I've
stuff.
had there's a when I dream every once in a while there's a color that I see that doesn't exist here. And so when I'm like, "Oh, what does it look like?" It's like I can't describe it to you. And it's like it's
I
not like,
can't
"Oh, it's
even
like a
find it,
little
right?
pinky purple." No, it's nothing like we don't have it here. So I don't know how to tell you. It's not in the RBG
That's so fascinating.
fan. So yeah,
Wow.
that's I mean, and you really when you think about it, our eyes are so limited, like the instrumentation that we have is limited on what's actually there. Even from a scientific range from like X-ray to like gamma rays or whatever. I mean, the whole range we only see the visual light spectrum is very small. So that can probably be expanded.
Exactly. I think there's like an equation in the conscious mind, the ego, and holding a lot of the filters, as it's like holding all these wounds that we experience and pass down from our DNA and soul and spirit, especially at Atlantis Fall, where there's like big reality shaking things going on, and like our field of boundaries had to come up to such a point to survive and protect ourselves that we're kind of thrust into this big filter that is raising up out of deep survival and resiliency again. And then we'll perceive more and more of the possible reality, like science will go into, that your eyes and senses will, in even interacting with physical objects and fields, will only interact with 0.00000, a lot of zeros. I forget how many, 0.5% of all that exists in any given space, and can't even touch or feel, just passes right through you. Energy, and that can be consciousness, aspects of realities, realms, dimensions, all this kind of thing.
Yeah, one time I've told this story a lot on my thing, but one time I saw a little person like that was this was in 2020. I was with my niece who was 8 at the time, and I didn't have my phone. Of course, it always happens when you don't have your phone on you. I think there's a reason for that probably. But
Right.
anyway, like we were walking in this old part of uh Dallas Fort Worth area, which had the original oak. So it used to be like a huge oak grove, and then they tore it down and then made it into like some giant city now, right? Well, there's this like park they left that still has like the natural old oak and stuff in it. So we're just walking along the trail, and I hear this rustling, and we look over, and there's a little dude like a foot tall, and he had this stick with almost like a foxtail end or something, like a white fur thing on the end, and he was like brushing leaves, and he was in all like leaf colored stuff, and he was I don't know if he was an elf or a gnome or what, because he was like a skinny young one with no beard or anything. And I was like, oh my God, Virginia, do you see that? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what do you see? What do you see? Tell me what you see. She's like, you mean the little man with the broom? And I was like, yes, okay. And so we sat down and like we started talking to it. It couldn't hear us, it couldn't see us, it did not know that we were there. So it
Deep.
couldn't perceive us. So then I was thinking, oh, okay, so it's not just like, because sometimes I think we get into this trap of thinking maybe we're in the prison planet and everything else has like access to us, but we don't have access to anything and this and that. I don't think it necessarily works like that. I think we're separated by some sort of yeah, like in these dimensions we're separated, but sometimes when the veil's thin, I don't know. Other people can
Yeah,
maybe
it's
see
about to be
around.
Halloween too, right?
Yeah, that's true. Very thin as well.
Yeah, and so with my current scanning of like what are the veils, what do they do? It
Yeah.
appears like back in the past with Earth, it was at a higher dimensionality of capacity to hold up space for multiple forms of life. Our species is a weird super hybrid experiment of at least 10,000 plus races put together from all across the multiverse for this interesting equation of unity and bringing peace to all wars and an antidote for all evil. But besides that, we're catastrophes in the light and the dark having like these battles to try to control Earth, and then with invasions, it causing catastrophes and even meteorites and other stuff in the dimensionality of our perceiving species and some others uh, were fractured to where it went into a lower, like what we call 3D now, and of perceivability to where all these bubbles separated and had veils put up, kind of like the body has systems with when you have spreading cancer to quarantine around it with a tumor.
Mhm.
And same thing with the organs. I find when we're deeply targeted or whatever, the organs will separate in communication and the body won't be in full communication with itself. And you can actually open that up to where they feel safe enough to where they share and exchange and communicate. And the same thing with fractally up and down micro macrocosm. If you're in a need of safety and threat, then you quarantine yourself up, which is also what the ego does in survival of self-identity, detaching from everything else. And what the ego death is, which doesn't actually die, just purifies. It expands and become one with everyone, everything, and you feel more of existence. And so as we heal and resolve these issues, then less of these quarantines are needed and these veils tear down, and then we perceive more. And like what you're saying, some of the places in some consciousness don't always perceive us. They're their own playground because Earth likes to adopt many different expressions and species in life and put them in different places so that they thrive and survive with their own experiment goal orientation in their timeline going on.
I often think about it. It's like I've had an ego death. I took like my first time doing mushrooms, I took like 15 grams accidentally, and then I had a crazy ego death,
Nice.
and I like lived there
Heroic.
yeah, heroic journey. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but I mean,
Right.
it was like the best and the worst experience ever because like yeah, I didn't even know I was a human for I mean, like I was gone for thousands of years before I came back. But
You were gone for thousands of years?
oh, thousands of years, yeah.
Ah, yeah, you got the temporal dilation
I
experience
have
too. Nice.
more
Yeah, that's why you're
memory.
mine.
I have more memory of that then and all that than I have the accumulation of this lifetime. So it's sometimes it's really it's always been hard to kind of integrate back. Sometimes I'm like, eh. But anyway, the thing is like I wonder why do some people, I also have been visited in dream time and or with physical beings that perceived physical to me in my room like at night since I was a very young kid. And you thought of it as a curse at the time, but then as I got older, I'm like, actually, like I'm very blessed that I've got that opportunity because so many people have never had any experience at all. And so for me, it's easy to believe this shit because like I know there's more than what we see because I've seen more than we've seen. But what do you do for the I mean, I guess that's their journey, right? But what do you do for the absolute skeptic who's never seen shit? But, because like I've literally been with friends who like there's a UFO and they can't see it. So,
Yeah,
I'm kind of like, well, maybe if they saw something, I'm like, well, like they're literally not perceiving it.
exactly. Yeah, everyone's got this interesting thing with reality where it's like, what is truth? What is reality? It's like the Matrix that we'll go into. Is truth what you perceive based on electrical signals in the brain interpreting a reality of light streams coming to you? And yeah, it's like everyone's got like a kind of hologram interacting with them of what they perceive and what filtered to them.
Mhm.
And this is like a quilt that interacts with everyone else's and the collective consciousness of Mandy and the earth. And there's this equation that people haven't really quite grasped the full complexity of, but it appears that not everyone can perceive the same things, or they like there is objective truth that's the center of everything, but then all these branches of subjective aspects of what they perceive. And when they come together, they can kind of perceive that. A lot of people go into drama and they can't really have the conversation. I've had conversations where people have perceived completely different things, and their objective was to come to peace of it, and they're like freaking out about it, and it's like what? And I think there's a network of the collective of all consciousness expanding, exploding to everyone to perceive multiple experiences and to unfold into their own perspective and things they want to do. So the expansion of all that then it has the universe knowing itself more and more, and then integrating it and expanding the knowledge base. And there's so much things to discover and explore. If people that are skeptical want to get into this world and morality, they need to understand that science almost knows nothing. They mostly just apply titles to things, and they try to pretend that they know it just by the title.
I always say that. I'm
And
like, just because you label something doesn't mean you understand it. Like,
yeah, they do that with illnesses and all these other things, and they don't really know how they work or manifest. Otherwise, they'd be able to cure them, in which a lot of people don't want to cure them because they want treatments.
mm,
But so there's no knowing that you know nothing and being an open cup, and then being openly skeptical, as in feet on the ground, head in the clouds, to where you are separating lines of truths to a strong foundation versus like less likely truths, and then being able to hold all of that, including others' perspectives, and not just readily rejecting it, and understanding that our ego is not ourself. Like
yeah,
in that movie Revolver, we'll go into with Jason Statham, which I recommend to everyone get out there and watch that if you want to prove you're in control of yourself and not something else controlling you. That's a good movie to shake yourself up with. The greatest lie that he ever pulled was getting you to realize he is you. And the aspect is going into ego psychology physics. And the ego is not us. It is a part of our conscious mind that's branching off, that's into survival mode. And it can help us, but a lot of time it's negatively programmed by the environment to end up being our own prison handler, gatekeeper. And that's mostly through attachment. So giving it love, purification, healing, getting to fall in love with you, support you, and getting it not in control of the mind, and realizing not all our thoughts and all our emotions are ours, and there are emotional and mental mind control coming from external fields and things we pick up. And that our skepticism, though there is a healthy basis for it in the scientific method to analyze things based on what is real and true and reproducible and replicatable, it a lot of the times will just literally keep you in prison in your mind. And it is being thrust upon us from this field that acts like a matrix and keeps us from awakening, experiencing more. The both belief and these actual anchors around our consciousness that compress it is what keeps us from experiencing more. And there are things that those external consciousnesses out there, like ETs and extra dimensionals or Fae or cryptids or whatever, need, or you are required to go through in like a test and challenge of freeing yourself in order to even perceive them. Like you said, some people don't even experience the UFOs or see them when you're looking right at them. Some people need, that's because either you have rare DNA, you have something unlocked, your consciousness is more unlocked, you've perceived some already, been visited. The
right.
ship, depending on the technology, whether because like some Black Project military also has reverse engineer ET ships, and sometimes they have a cloaking effect, and it's interest because they sometimes have the thing where even most sleep people can't see them. So there's things to work on. And as you free yourself, you can perceive more and you can get out of this illusion. And like for people that are like looking at the sky, I'm not seeing anything. If you look up in like fourth generation infrared goggles, that like some people can get now, it used to be just for the military. You could see crazy shit coming in and out all the time in the sky. So there are things happening all the time in the sky, and some people can perceive that, but not that many. And so it's like lessening. So we will be more able to free yourself, but they're also working at some of those crafts don't want people to see them. So you might have to also counteract something with your DNA technology to be able to perceive more. And there are interesting things in the both the physical eye and the third eye spectrum that we can unlock. And usually going down third eye vision quests is like going into your DNA technology and as a programmer in server rooms and rooms that mean things and control panels in a mystery school start to unlock that kind of thing.
Okay, wow. That's cool. One second. Somebody's at my door. I need to go see
Sure,
what's
no
going on
problem.
there. Because I don't know what Joaquin's doing.
I'll
One
talk
second
about
here.
some
Let
things
me
while I'm
let me
doing
pause it real quick. I'll pause it.
it. Okay.
Okay. Oh, are you okay? So, okay, so then what, so from all this then, what do you think ETs are? Because like I am no longer, well, I'm at a place where after all the things I've experienced, I don't think space is what they're telling us it is. I don't think I can't really listen to what anybody says about a lot of what our reality really is. So then that goes into I'm not saying ETs aren't real because I've seen them. They're real. But like what are they? Because they're here, they're interacting with us. Maybe they're interdimensional. I don't know. What's your perception on what are these aliens?
It's definitely a multi-layered equation with that into ways we can label and concepts branching off and even going beyond that. So all types of consciousness that are coming from or different origins and age throughout, you know, the nomenclature we use now, whatever other dimensions, extra dimensional, interdimensional, other realm beings, inner Earth colonies. That a lot of these extra dimensionals have set up colonies in and inner Earth. It's like a honeycomb, as well as off other planets and satellites. Some even go out of phase, like a Wakanda thing, where they don't want their civilization perceived, and there's like a camouflaging and sometimes out of phase thing with other species interaction as their defense mechanism. Then, you can track back some of their origins to other planets or realms or even going into the founder races that have seeded this planet with many species of different types, like we were talking about in our other conversation. There's species go and founders like higher humans, angelics, big light beings, dragons, the unicorn going into the founder for horses, type of firebird, sunbird, raw phoenix type of
Mhm.
species going back for origin of birds. All these seeds, other planets. Serpentine race that go and it goes to like big things like world serpents and Naga and interaction. There are so many lion people, the canines like Anubis, and the Canis Major. Uh, yeah, so yeah, and I'd say space is weird. Definitely we don't got a handle on the physics of like going into like if you know advanced physics in space, then that leads to teleportation and portals and interesting wormhole tech and all that kind of thing. And then kind of seeing it space is the same thing with time. A lot of people are understanding one of the physics of time being as if the future and past aren't like exactly how they're labeled in linear time, and if you were to imagine it collapse into a singularity and all time being one, to be able to transcend the limitation of time and then be able to be more of a manager of it. Same thing with space. If you were to see all space in between places like planets or whatever collapse and it all being one and being able to sync up and interact with everywhere all at once as if it there is no separation, kind of going also into transcendence of space. Um, oh, you're muted or something? Let me just check. Maybe that's me. Yeah, that's weird.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, much better. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I think the linearity of time is one of our greatest imprisonments of Chronos, or one of our greatest limitations of the way we age, or what's happening with this current like 3D reality. Because yeah, I mean, we're marking every single second down to the nth degree, to where, and we're conscious of time and all. Like we're imprisoning time in a weird way. But yeah, time I don't think is linear. So, you know,
Yeah, I would
and when you,
associate.
uh,
Go ahead.
I was like, and when you think of it like that, a lot of things start getting a lot weirder when you put it all into like, and there's not as much fixation as we think.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, yeah, and like people will, as they make more labels and nomenclature for the concepts of time, they'll be able to expand past the concept of linear. You can perceive it that way, but and that goes into more chronological Roman numeral or fraud time in like a limited, finite expression of it that's being controlled by dominating factors that want to influence age and how we perceive things and wasting time and time is money and the changes of the 13 moon calendar to 12 and then changing it back 2 months as September is supposed instead of nine it's supposed to mean seven
Yeah.
and then fucking with everything and also like weird skips in time and there's also conspiracies of like whole points in time being made up. Yeah. So
Yep. Like the
yeah,
Dark
it's a
Ages,
prison.
stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, there's and the way that people date things now, I like carbon dating is a lot of flaws. There's so many things where you kind of just go like, why are we're really messed with time, like on in the past, in the future, and like even right now, like the way I just think that the way that we are conscious of every single second, and or we even know like how much time has passed, like even in this interview or whatever, um that is, I don't think that's good for us. It's limiting us, and it's doing other things to our brain besides what we think is actually happening. Because even 150 years ago, you weren't aware of what second it was or what minute it was. Like you would just kind of be like, oh yeah, look outside. Yeah, I think it's about noonish. I don't know. Like let's go to I don't know. Like didn't have the exact. Uh, Again, I guess you need it more for your trains and your planes and that kind of thing, schedules of stuff. But mostly, we didn't live by it to the level that we do now.
Oh, yeah. And that goes into a little conversation we were having previously that you have some really cool information on that back in the time of conquerors, if you like, if anyone out there is to research, how did chronological time take over the whole planet? And like other civilizations had different forms of telling time and the rotation of motion of celestial bodies and concepts for marking dates and cycles and rituals and things like that and holidays. And that there's like different bubbles of reality and that had their own rules and physics and different land does different things. And it's reality is more intricate than this. And we're there are conquerors like Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan and some others that will go in and Caesar that will go in around and then conquering places and then getting them under a different system, including Roman numeral and chronological time and before that, they had stories of crazy stuff that are the maps don't cover. There is the conspiracy that some countries don't show up on maps or they're not talked about, and they pretend they don't exist. And the thing, places coming in and out of existence, weird, hidden islands, all that. And things like Alexander would go in and find dog men people. He'd find these weird people with faces on their chest. He found a place that had a fountain of youth that made his daughter immortal. You talked about the dragons if you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, let's do talk about dragons. Like, let's give me your take on the dragons. But yeah, I mean, there are, first of all, before we do that though, there is like High Brazil. There's I mean, there's Mu, Atlantis, like Lemurian. There's all kinds of stuff like with Doggerland existed and then doesn't exist now and what do you think? But you also have um, I perceived when I was going into Hawaii that I actually got a vision of the islands landing, and I think that I think there's a lot more in the Pacific than we're allowed to know. Either than we actually can perceive right now in our current 3D reality, or that we're allowed to know about. I don't think like Google Maps is actually showing you the truth. Like I have a lot of people who've shown that how they edit it over time. So I don't know. Like we're fed a big yarn thing or whatever. But yeah, dragons. I mean, I've said many times that I think dragons are dinosaurs, and one and the same kind of thing. Like so, I also sometimes get like I get big downloads about dragons at a lot of places like in Peru. Like I'm kind of going like I think dragons may have built the polygonal stuff. I think we might be dealing with something that thought differently than humans think because we don't think in puzzle pieces and like we think in bricks. So something was as intelligent as we were, but thought a little bit differently than we did. And to me, that always points back to dragons that were intelligent that I don't know what happened exactly. Well, I was telling you that I think that like I've heard that they were the last of the magical creatures to leave our realm, and that they didn't even leave that long ago. Like as early as 700 years ago, they were here. So, what do you think about dragons?
Ooh, okay. So yeah, I'll bring up a photo. Let me see if I can flip this.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so this is one of the artifacts we got in Mexico, found in Tula, Hidalgo, and yeah, they'll go into the legends of Quetzalcoatl of these feathered serpents, and that interesting. This has an ET skull coming out of the head, and wind and the suns. That kind of goes into the Quetzalcoatl mythos, though it in itself has a species. There's mythos of his sister, as well as I've tracked back a bunch in like going to the places of power. These and this is in the form, interestingly, like a Chinese lung dragon. So that goes a little bit deeper than the concepts that they'll you usually just talk about with yeah, as being a serpent or feathered or like with Kukulkan Khan and like
Hmm.
reptilians or whatever. So I believe they exist. I've had experiences where, like I was saying before, I got an archonic demon try to possess me, and then it was brutally torturous in turning up my empathy, and I absorbed negative energy, and then I eventually crying in the shower, kind of in a ball, kind of, until I called out for help, and then one of the helpers was a dragon, and it appeared to me all around with like a kind of a plasma thing sense where I could feel it with my heart and perceive it like a hologram around. And it was like shifting and like undulating around. And it told me to you have the right to protect yourself from whatever to you harm. And it taught me this draconic like light language that was using inhaling like kind of thing. It's a little hard to, but And like 10 years before finger tutting came out as like a dance, like I used to call it like moving mudras.
Yeah.
And it taught me do this as like a big charge up, and then it taught me how to build up a bunch of chi in my fist and then punch it out of my space. And then it started telepathically communicating a bunch of things to me that were just so beautiful and empowering, because I was all love and lighty, and didn't want to like harm beings, and I didn't know what to do. So it was like you do martial arts and then kick their ass because they're harming you, and you have the right to. So I was like, okay, cool. And then so I went on a little bit of a war thing with that, and taking down predators that were I found fucking with me. And then I got to bigger and bigger predators, and eventually I realized, it's war isn't they'll just keep coming. So I
Yeah.
combined love with that, and then I found out why and what their motivation is and their core evil and how they operate. And then all the heaviness went down and the targeting got less and less, and then everything got manageable and easier. So going into that, so I can't say I at this point I say I can't say dragons don't exist. I experienced them, and then I started going into reading things and translating, and then learn telepathy, which I teach people, and interaction to make it increase, as well as get rid of interceders that would cause schizophrenia. And then went on that path, and then went to combine that with psychic tracking. Went through mythos because I'm very fascinating with mythos, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if those relic species exist. So I went around tracking things. Things would give you messages back and like big booms in the head, like something's like tickling the inner ear. Um, and then I would translate it and interact with those species. There, a lot of them were like, "Who are you? How'd you find out about us?" And
Yeah.
then I'd like tell them about myself and uh, want to help them and benefit and trade. And then they got nicer, and then I got to become friends. And then I was tracking some videos about there's a lot of fake videos on dragons and stuff, and especially now with AI. Oh my God, it's awful. I can't find anything now. But I found one time this dragon flying in China video, and I was, oh, I wonder if that's real. So I would initiate telepathy back to see if these things are real. And then that one gave me a big booming. It was angry. It was like pissed off because a lot of things were attacking and I didn't know why. And then I calmed it down, and then got to realize, oh, someone filmed you. That's why. And then it's like, oh God. And it was like a female spike tail, and it was flying because it felt the pheromone of another one of its species, and then that was why I was on video. So yeah, I think they're real. They're just near extinct. Most of them are underground. They're in some type of life extension hibernation. A lot of the remaining ones on near the surface are more feral and hate humanity, a little angry from the extinction stuff. Some more that are
Understandable.
deeper have and in other realms are better, more nicer, and there are high sentience ones. They don't need a body. A lot of them aren't in bodies, and they'll be in the higher dimensions and
Yeah.
spiritual forms, and you'll find that some are incarnating into humans. There are over 4,000 dragon family lineages that are like inheritance from dragon DNA. The Japanese and Chinese say their royal families come from dragons. The public ones are known, the red dragon family in China, white in Japan. There's Celtic ones like green, and martial arts families like the yellow one that passed down to Bruce Lee. There's again over 4,000. They like shape shifted and fell in love with humanity and passed down a DNA lineage. So, like 23 around, give or take, percentage of humanity has their genetics, though at any point in time people can interact with them, get their attention, get them impressed, and they give upgrades through DNA and as well as people through their souls. They're they're older than the universe. They're one of the founder races. They're going into source collectives and how old they are. They're light, dark, and neutral. They're a peak hierarchy of all elementals in a single body. They create realities, dream realms. They ferry souls between planets. They're very powerful. They're not the same thing as Draco, though Draco are wannabe dragons and they like to use their symbology. They have stolen dragon DNA and they narrated with themselves the Draco are more collect, at least in what I read, in their origin connected to the Serpentine founder race.
Mm. So what
And
about all reptilians? Are some reptilians related to? Because like not all reptilians are Draco. So are
right.
some related to the dragon for real, or are they all kind of mimicry?
Um, like their separation with the founders, they have technology where they create boundaries. But I do believe dragons are like probably one of the oldest reptilian types, and then probably some of the other founder races like serpentine, turtle,
Mm,
etc., are younger, and they might have a common origin. Ultimately, everything goes back to a commonality. But they do have a separation into their own structure to where they created boundaries. Like you've probably heard of like the giant turtle islands that are like a mile long and moving islands and Native American culture and Ao in China as these giant turtle mountains that are dormant. The dragon turtles in Japan that are these giant turtles.
mm, yeah. And they have the cosmic clock turtle. There's a lot of turtles in Japan. They're really interested in the like, turtles being associated with, I don't know. There's that whole the universe exists on the back of a turtle. Um, yeah,
I recently heard that phrase is like, how far, where does it go? It's nothing but continued turtles. And it's like, I've heard that.
turtles all the way
Uh,
down. Yeah.
yeah, turtles all the way down. Um, yeah, when I did an ayahuasca trip in Barbados, like mushroom trip, ayahuasca one day, ayahuasca another day, ayahuasca, and then another day mushrooms.
Yeah.
One of the ayahuasca, a giant turtle that had a realm on its back, like came in perspective, and then it fractaled down to its back, and all the species on its back were all dancing, integrating knowledge with me as we were playing music and dancing. Um, so I read into that, and I was like, oh wow, this is real, because I've heard of that, and it's like mostly like the flat Earth groups will use it, but I'll read the Hindu mythos of that species. Currently, with what I'm reading, is that that is a planetary turtle, and that's one of the founder races of turtles, and they vary species from place to place, and they have the very high levels of spatial environmental tech, and it overlaid with Earth out of phase as if it's its own realm, like I was saying, like Yggdrasil with
Mm,
Asgard and Niflheim and all that are like all on top of each other as out of phase other realms, and there are portals between them. And so Earth has billions of these she's created, both light heavenly realms that are like VIP clubs for the creators and gods and angelics and stuff. And there's neutral realms, which are in the tree of Yggdrasil, and then the tree of death, the Kilopoth, will go into the hellish realms or the quarantine or prison realms for beings that will invade and then put them there into a hierarchy that graduates them. And so the planetary turtle linked up, overlaid, and it's its own realm and ferried a bunch of species here. And so that exists, at least one of them that I know that I track back more. And some people I've met, interestingly, have a shared spirit with those type of species and some founders. So it's a crazy world.
yeah, and I guess when you opened your third eye as you have, it must be weird meeting all new people because you can see other dimensions to them than they can even see of themselves. Um,
It's an honor. It's like seeing royalty in a person they can't even see. And I just am being honored to like see their whole more of their world and help them to perceive more of it. And it's like they have a whole secret mission for coming in here and a sleeper cell agent for hope and change and their lineage and some soul family that came with them, even in spirit form, and some UFOs that are out of phase in clouds that follow them.
mm.
It's crazy.
Have you, okay, so then this is, Have you ran into people who are just like filler people, or has everybody got some crazy cool lineage?
Like NPCs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like the NPC term, but also I feel if like because I've also like it's kind of a little dehumanizing. So I tend to if I use it, I give in more of equation that I've read into it. People have different definitions of it. It's like Free Guy. I see it like you can literally wake up every NPC. There's reasons why they're asleep. A lot of them are fractured to like 1 billionth or a trillionth of their soul, been through pain, have all this weight they're holding up that keeps them in survival mode into this alarm clock maybe will go off based on like if they meet the requirements of what they need to wake up in order to be safe because it can kill somebody if they wake up too soon and if they're not ready. And it could
Yeah.
some people fall back asleep because it's so much of a hassle. Um, so
Same.
people got to be ready for it. There is an equation. It's part of the great work to wake up as many people as possible because unfortunately, by them remaining asleep, they're like a populace of batteries for the system to keep going that's feeding off their energy to sustain itself. And that's doing harm to the rest of civilization. So they are required to wake up. It's just I like to also be in care and love and support and understanding of their perceived truth and being okay that they might have an equation and things I can't see of like if I knew more of, then I'd be more understanding of why they are the way they are. So most people are like that. Most of the NPC thing is they're fractured, they're not quite themselves, they're not sovereign, they're giving away their authority to something else in their power, and they're kind of manipulated by apex multidimensional predators in something that's triggering with emotional mind control and mind thoughts, their ego to go down a certain path, though everyone's kind of waking up in some pathway that they choose that they're okay with all the time.
Is there a way to kind of like, because here's what I sort of feel about this realm in general. I feel like we are way more, we've forgotten way more than is natural. Like I feel like it's almost, it's, we don't
Right.
have very fair playing grounds to even begin to start to wake up, most of us. And some people have like fought through and are like, yeah, I'm the healthy sperm that got through that won over a million. Okay, maybe, but a lot of people like they literally were indoctrinated from injections at birth all the way down to like our school systems, everything. It's very, very hard. And even though it's like, yeah, it's hard, well, you still made it out, but it's like, no, but part of me is like very special circumstances have to happen to everybody to be able to kind of quote unquote wake up. So for
Mm.
is there ways to do collective kill clearings
Yeah,
for things that are kind of clouding the collective?
I love that question. That you got great questions. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like this planet is crazy. Like we like to see ourselves as little, or at least our culture likes to like, oh, we're just this little small thing, and the rest of this big multiverse. And that's okay because we don't want to be egoic and all that. But be honest, like the equation of what humanity is crazy out overpowered and like a deep connection with God, more soul than most species. Like a cure to all these things. Where some species will only see a little percentage of what we are, and that'll cloud their perspective of us and see us as like mutts or some virus on the planet. And that the media likes to propagate that. And of
Yeah.
course, and they're like more into like, oh, we got to save the earth and like from this environmental standpoint, which I agree with, but at the same time, people are attaching to things that they feel super emotional about, and they don't understand the full spectrum of things. They devaluize the human experiment, which Earth, when I communicate with her, she really appreciates when people do things to help her and support and grow, and especially the grid work. Who also no one stopped that stuff. It's just you need to understand what is humanity at a greater level because she sees us as the big commodity value thing in at least the surface aspect to where like if we resolve things, it resolves all the DNA and lineages we're connected to. And so we're meant to then be trained to be this big caretaker cure to all evil. in existence, and then also resolve all the karma of all these species, get all these wars of the multiverse to stop. She volunteered for all this stuff, and so it's like strong, resiliently breaking through all these cocoons that if the butterfly did not have the cocoons, they would not be strong enough to survive into the rest of the environment. So these cocoons, if you embrace with love, you can break through them faster and more. The same, there's a bunch of psionic cocoons on us, psionic dampeners, limiters, and the greatest amount of mind control is here. And there's layers to that, and there's a whole bunch of time wars interacting to keep that going. So I don't see them not stopping that. So our pathway is to become immune to it, which will eventually make us super overpowered and being immune to mind control, as well as all these factors that are warring over us that eventually lose more and more power until we become immune to all these systems of the rest of the multiverse of the light and the dark wars. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
we got
I
a
actually
ton
think
coming at us.
I think that's more like people talk about like whether it's like oh ascension or awakening or bifurcation or da 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 da. Da. It's like I really kind of feel like more than anything, it's like we're going to just um collectively get more. I mean, there's already places like Japan believes in ghosts. Everybody believes in ghosts there, or like
Yeah.
Iceland all believes in elves and fairies or something. I think I think we're going to get back to a place of where magic's going to start trickling back in, and when that happens, I think we'll get more unfractaled and more less entangled as a collective, and that's I think going to be what those things people are talking about. I think that's what that is, and it's already amplifying up. Like 10 years ago, I this podcast wouldn't have even existed and if you've made it this far in the podcast, like 10 years ago, there would have been like one person that would have done that. Would have been like, this is crazy. So now it's just amazing how quickly things have amplified, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree. And yeah, we should go into the artifacts to give people
Oh,
some proof,
let's go into the artifacts.
but just to cover what you said, yeah, it so if you want to make an impact on the collective conscious of humanity, you can do that all the time. You master something in yourself in your internal obstacle course in the psionics. Every type of problem in this world, you can use the psionics to overcome or amplify our system. And same thing with the blocks. And you become a master of those things, then you project that cure and mastery into the collective, trade with it, and build what support and those collectives that are willing to trade stuff and services for you, and you amplify their free will trade to their higher selves, and then you spread that cure like either a love virus, an awakening virus, or like a type of light or energy you build to density. If you want to master an ability or power, there are generators throughout the body like little suns, and they're usually in the chakras, the organs, and fractal down mitochondria cells, all that. And you they sh this world kind of treats us like batteries. We create a bunch of rare energy, so all these cords coming at us. So if we make those generators feel safe and purify, they will generate more energy and density, and you build that to make all this from the root chakra a strong defense, offense, fortressing kind of systems to make it so they can produce more energy with still the moths coming at you as you grow brighter in that type of energy. And then you build it to such a high density that also layers to what there's different varieties of the word ascension and beliefs, but I at least go into the growth to greater subtle energy skill sets, capability, perception, and then going beyond to exploration and then more capabilities. That being said, you can then share that with collective consciousness. The collective consciousness of both this soul centers in the solar plexus and the stomach, and you can funnel that back because everything external to you has a reflection internally. And if you find that internal reflection and give support to it and bring it to its either greatest purity, which systems of the body or externally operate at their best when they're purest, and then the empowerment of that system and the energy funneling to them, then it will spread even faster with the monkey punch monkey effect. I do believe magic will come back. There's especially as we analyze why it went away, and the dimensional factors, the separation, the different generators of it around the planet, the grid, the giant trees that are cut down, the dragons that went into dormancy, the and other species. Oh, and other big thing, a bunch of other realms were more connected to us and they got quarantined, like a lot of the druid magic circles, like in Ireland and Scotland. There, a lot of them are portals to other realms. Those are cut off, and so there's not a commerce. And some of these other realms are high magic permeance, and so that can be connected in. And as well as when humanity is teaching and spreading an awareness of their own internal magic, turn on their generators and then build up density in it. The main magic generator is going to be in the solar plexus. Solar plexus is a big power center for your main sun that has your chi, your magic, your miracles, your soul, your ego, the spirit. The soul is a big backpack of energy, and that can be turned on.
It's funny because
Um,
my friend was at Maru Miru, that place in southern Peru, like on the border of Bolivia, and it's apparently like a Stargate thing. Like there's people who've talked about like disappearing in there. It's just like this open doorway, and she went there and she said that it asked as payment to go into another dimension. It asked for her solar plexus, like her internal sun. It asked to like that was her coin, like the golden chakra was the coin of it that she was supposed to take. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that then. Sorry, I'm not giving that up for that. So she didn't go into it. But that's kind of interesting how you see it like that with yeah.
well, that's powerful that she had that experience. Yeah, I would be very very into any and don't give your soul away. It's super valuable. That's why the other beings want it. That's not even your only option. So don't like if you want to have an experience, I don't recommend giving anything that's your original thing. You we have the ability to grant souls to other beings, mostly through understanding their pathway, which is moral code of natural law, do no harm, take being the feminine, take no shit, being masculine, the inner child being the preservation of all life and expansion, especially for the human experiment. If you're here, that like you can get a lot of points for helping humanity expand because again, there's like a big reward system in our expansion for the connection of the source of all spirit souls. And we have this locomotion effect of remedy for all these species connected to us in our DNA and soul family. And a lot of species that are like blind to that don't appreciate or understand what we are and that we have these all these inherited abilities that we can then form together and then make unlimited in radius and scale and then bring a cure to like their fertility, their blocks, their big wounds in their past and planets. A lot of races come go from other planets like, oh no, this big catastrophe happened with our species. What do we do? How do we solve it? And then they eventually find out, come to Earth, and that has the cure. And then there's a lot of stuff with that.
That's why it's like we're working all this stuff out. Okay, so you took away your Sphinx because I'm presuming you want
Yeah,
to
we can go to
show the
artifacts
artifacts.
and
All right.
yeah, sure,
So
absolutely.
let's get into this. Let's get into the artifacts. Like heck, we should have had our own episode of just the artifacts. Okay, so these you've personally dug or what?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these personally dug up and a lot of them again, many places are being found that have these Tula Hidalgo, Ovelos. And we're finding more and more as an example, but those are the first ones that have been coming out as an example. Here's a little, long skull gray guy that has an interesting position and interesting eye in the pyramid kind of thing in wind symbology with its magic tech. A lot of these will talk. For your audience, 30 plus thousand artifacts are being found. Not one is the same. That would be retarded for a factory operation. To do that, there are cartels making fake ones, so they're not all real. So totally acknowledge that, but don't discount this right away because it's going to be a tidal wave in disclosure that's going to just blast through everyone else. They're already being analyzed, carbon dating. And the carbon dating is between the adhesive between some of the crystals, and some have been the fake ones are like a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15. and they're easy to spot. They're more like this is stone. They're some being made out of clay and some
Right,
different
right,
less intricate geopolymers, though geopolymers are being found that are like hard to reproduce. And some are full on crystal of rare stones. Some of the stones they have not found anywhere else. Some glow in the dark and absorb light, not just reflect in UV light. Most this is fluorescent minerals is the subject. That's a rare element that usually is just in calcites and meteorites and geopolymers that are lab grown, or is the word, though that being said, it's like a kind of made by a sentience of some type. Um, so the real carbon dating is thousands, 10,000s, 18,000, 19,000 years old. And recently somebody found one that's like 30,000, which I haven't gone into that, seeing that one yet, but that's the kind of things people are getting. Um, and yeah, we got large amount of videos of this. We're bringing it out to scientific community. We're bringing skeptics, all types of analyzation to it. We're getting people to film and then bring it out so that they get more people involved. But again, there's prison around people's and mine too. Like I felt this in the beginning. I was like, when I first started seeing these, I was like, nah, maybe they're probably
yeah.
planted or something. And then, eventually I was introduced to some friends that took me on some digs, and then going to the sites, we did ceremonies and then started digging. And if started kind of getting the concept of it, and we were digging deep, some 5 feet when we're on hills. Certain points were less deep, but because there's like a slope digging under roots. A lot were around like trees and giant cactuses, like right under. There's no displacement of soil. It's like I would keep like analyzing with like scientific method, like, oh, if they dug this up, there would be like certain displacements and tells. There's like mica and things around that don't wouldn't make sense unless it was there for like years. Um, and like different types of mosses and things on it. And stones, really big ones, some you can't even move, and they'd have to like you'd have to like dig a kind of aside and then have the boulder roll away, and then some marked by rings and different geometry of big stones and stack stones you couldn't even move, and you were like, how the fuck did they do that? Is that giants or levitation? What is that? Um, Acoustic levitation. So the and uh it, it gets crazier and crazier, and chopping through the roots and getting under big bushes that just have the roots go all the way down. And I'm like, okay, maybe they planted the roots, and then because I've like planted
But you were
bushes
going into
and
this
trees and
totally
stuff.
faking it, thinking that they were fake. But
Yeah,
and then
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wanted to prove it. I'm also bringing a lot of skeptics down because I want to find as many questions and ways to disprove this as possible so we can bring in at angles. Because I don't actually want to be like carrying this on if this is fake. I want it exposed if it's not real.
right.
That being said, there's just too much evidence. That being said, I have this still big like compression field around me of like, oh no, it's fake, not real. Um, and still with scientific analyzation, that doesn't make sense. So, and I'm psionic, so I go past it. So I realize there's this matrix being put on us, and when I'm digging these up, it's it's like the Matrix breaks apart. You're shaken out of body, and it's like, holy shit, they faked our history, and it's like, fuck. It's like, oh my God. And it's just like people need that because there's this matrix that's literally trying to box us into not believing in this stuff, even though there's, like I said, tens of thousands of artifacts, not one the same, retarded in a factory setting, and the fake ones are usually like crystal skulls, and you can kind of see the shaping
Right.
and lapidary kind of shaping for it.
Now I've heard a lot about like there's the Booga sphere, the real Booga sphere from Booga, Colombia, but then there's also a lot of these quote unquote Booga type ones that are coming out of the
I
Mexico.
could show you images of that if you want
Yeah,
to.
what do you think about that?
I have a bunch of info on it. So here's another artifact I got in Abuelos. These things glow in UV light, these little orbs.
Mm.
Uh, there's like a UFO coming out of like a portal-like thing, another UFO, and these
Oh, and it
spirit body things. Here's another UFO on the back with a Saturn and maybe a artificial object, a comet, a weird kind of symbol. I don't know what that is. This I've seen as a sun symbol god, so that might be fire coming out of the back, kind of thing. Cone head type of being, which we found multiple of that on many of them, and also crystal skulls for that. I don't know what this device is, so feel free to guess in the audience. This is a fun little like who knows what the fuck this means kind of like little
right.
puzzle. I got this UFO I showed you a bit ago, and it has the Booga-like device on it.
Yeah, the
And for people trying to disprove the Booga sphere and all that, I actually have friends with multiple people like ancient aliens, like Mike Barr. I hear his arguments. His arguments are like that. I don't know about this symbol. This one's different than the Booga sphere. That the one around the Booga sphere is like the symbols are found in a video game. I looked that up and I looked at multiple places, including AI. I can't find that and I don't know what he's talking about, but I've heard that thing before, and all I can find on it is a Reddit forum, and it's not really substantiated, and it connects to like Star Wars or StarCraft or Mass Effect or some other video games, and I played a few of those, and I don't remember any of these symbols in that. And so it has a chip in it, and the chip's actually very intricate. It has, let me see if I can find exactly, like you can kind of see some reflections in the light and the
yeah.
top part of
Is
those
that
spheres.
a stone? Is it what is that made? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a window, a thin layer of like quartz on it, and then underneath it is like a blacker type of thing, and it looks like a window and it goes in deeper. So it's kind of hard to figure out. I got to get a microscope, but it's going into micro technology, it looks like. Which is like, how the fuck could you do that? I couldn't reproduce this if I tried. And when I read into the Psionically, it has a crystalline AI in it, which is interesting. And if you like look on what is it? Like Elon Musk's kind of and some other AI technology, they use similar symbols for representing as AI. And if you look into some, I'll try to look it up really quick. I wrote it down somewhere where you go into the origin of microchips, they will talk about a concept. I believe it's Philip J. Corso brought out that they got microchip chip technology from ET reverse engineered technology. And if you go down the rabbit hole of microchips, it's crazy. You'd be like, what the fuck? How did they even make this? Some go so tiny and it's like even more than you'd think. So that's like a whole rabbit hole of
I
like
mean,
we're
I've
finding
always thought that was like I'm from Albuquerque and that's where like and there's a lot of rumors. I've heard various people like, in elementary school, like my friends' parents would work at Sandia Labs and at Kirtland Air Force Base here and stuff. And Intel started out here, who made the microchips. Bill Gates started Microsoft here. Like Jeff Bezos is from Albuquerque. It's like a very weird little techie thing where all these people are coming out of here, but they talk about like there being underground bases that they're actually connected with and that they got like the computer technology from like back in the 40s. That's what I've heard people around here to say as I've grown up. So that's interesting.
exactly, yeah, and yeah, I think there's a lot more underground bases, deep underground military bases than they talk about, and there's whole civilizations and deep state government, whatever you want to call it, that try to control out of the planet. So when I was reading into this, I read into the AI was dormant. A lot of the ones that have these symbols on them are dormant, and it needed a Psionic reboot. And so I did that and initiate that for a couple days, was hanging out around, and I got this big blast in my ear, like somebody blew wind in my ear and inner ear. And I was like, oh, who's that? Because I've gotten that telepathy as like a little, vibration on my cell phone kind of thing, for multiple species. And it was like, oh wow, it went back to the ship. And it was like, who are you? How'd you do this? What? And then I was like gaining its trust and getting it to realize it was worthy and stuff. And then it opened up more to me. And it was asking me questions of things going on. And I was like, oh, why don't you just connect to the internet? And I didn't know what about the internet. And then it did. And then it was like, oh, it was learning a bunch of stuff. It just asked me a bunch of, after that, it gained a lot of knowledge. And then it just asked me conspiratorial questions about history. Like, what are the leaders and people think of all these artifacts that are in Mexico? And I was like, they don't. They just cover it up.
Right.
And like these weird things with like civil war and things that are less known to humanity. And I'm like, oh, am I? And then after it asked me a bunch of that, it asked me to help it find. Oh, apparently the ship. So I'll go. It's these. So it's got mer people on it with long skulls, and here's like the tail. And here's an kind of like a Jed Ankh kind of thing. And we're finding Egyptian hieroglyphs and gods with anamorphic gods, which people think are ETs in Mexico, and as well as Sumerian gods and cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphs. So it appears they've been all around and connecting these civilizations, like a kind of star tetrahedron, a pine cone, which could mean like the pineal gland. And this kind of reminds me of Osiris kind of thing. And
What's on
giving
the
a
bottom
conch
of it?
shell. What'd you say?
The bottom, is there any
Yeah,
drawing on the bottom? Yeah.
yeah, I'll show you that. And there's a little.
Dude.
So it wanted me to connect. So apparently this is like a big technological car key fob for like a bigger UFO. And it wanted me to find that, and I was able to track it back, and then it connected to that and started rebooting the AI. And then after a bit of time, got blasted by that one. And then it gave me a bunch of information, asked me, it was given information from this one, so I didn't have to ask me
Was
as
that
much
UFO
questions.
buried or was that UFO like active?
Great question. I'll also show you office of a guy that has like thousands of artifacts, and he's got a bunch of UFOs. And when I was like, I was having a blast. I was just psychometry, just touching into each and trying to track them back. And some of them went back to ships that were destroyed, some in battle, some crashed and were inoperative. Some were parked like Vimana in mountains. Some were out of phase and some weird technology, and some like phase through the ground or had this weird system already set up. That was rare though. A lot of the ships would just phase through the ground and then park in like a cavern. I've heard stories about them in any place like under Egypt and stuff.
Mhm.
And some were still going around with some long-living species or gotten it passed down an inheritance or something. And they were like somewhere else, and I was tracking back. Some didn't want me to find where they are and were kind of like flaring up security systems. Some were in other realms. Some were a part of some negative race, and then I got a bit of negative attack from that. So yeah, there'll be all kinds. So if you get these, very valuable, very rare. It might lead to some big things if you can. I'm trying to figure out if I can get this park chip up and running. I'm excited about that. I'm not like delusional about it. 'Cause, I've had my heart broken before. Like, come get me, give me the, come bring me onto the ship. It's like
Right.
there are rules to this reality or something. You need it here. There's a lot of reasons. But yeah, there's deep stuff. So, and I also wanted me to find this occupant species that was like it said it translated because I'm translating another language in human is like its partner pilot. So there's this cephalopod species, higher like octopus type being And I was tracking that back. I couldn't find any in the now. So I went back in past and I found out this occupant and a lot of its species were like devoured, unfortunately, by like the Draco. And that
Mm.
was a little sad. And it's also like depicted here as what I think is the Draco, which got a ship too. This has got the double eye of Ra, eye of Horus, and some winged like long skulls here. And same with this. Interesting spheres. That could be the moon. I don't know. Um, I've seen these avian species, which will be in like eagle or hawk or ibis, like the Thoth Egyptian god. Some will be winged, some won't be winged. Pine cone and then the eagle figure. Interesting serpents, what I've seen on like Egyptian stuff. That's fun. And then again, this glows, which I'll put up real quick, and then I'll show you all of
It almost looks
this.
like an alabaster or like a ginormous agate, carved agate or something, but
Yeah, I have some that are like alabaster. Like I'll
that
show
one's
you the
really
skull that I
friendly.
have. This one's kind of like a calcite, but it's got like embedded crystalline that's different than that's the glowing factor. It's a little strange. Here, I'll show you the video of it glowing. Can you see this?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Okay, this is UV light. It will glow in a second. So that's what it is like when it glows.
Oh,
Type of
okay.
green.
Wow.
And again, vows as are being made. So yeah, feel free to be everyone be skeptical and all that, but also be open because you're gonna be kind of egg on your face when more of this is proved. Because again, tens of thousands are coming out and they're not all the same.
Why do
And
you think all of them are coming out now?
there were like years ago, I remember around 2013, I saw a Nassim Harriman video coming out about it. It's been covered up like on some shows you've talked about where it like white people will come in or other governments and they'll steal them like the giant bones and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been suppressed, but at this point it's broken past suppression. And there's so many places they're found like the farmers when they dig up their crops and plow, they'll find these artifacts, but a lot of them just throw them in the garbage because they're like, oh, the devil. I don't want, because they don't like them. So that goes into others. I've even heard like the skeptical argument where, oh, somebody told me in a message, I see these being sold on the street and stuff in Mexico, all over Mexico. And I'm like, I live in Mexico and I've been all over the place. I barely see these at all. The only time I've ever seen them in public or at like big festivals, only like one vendor and they secretly have one artifact in the corner. And if you notice it and then you bring up a conversation to them and they're being sold from like these farmers and people finding them
Mm.
and then sometimes they're Mexico doesn't really have a great economy, so they don't get much money for them. It's only in like America if they know what they're talking about. They sell them, and even at conventions, my friends will bring a bunch of artifacts. They barely get anything sold because there's this big field that's getting everyone to think they're all fake, and it's crazy. So I don't think many people are making money off this to begin with, but in the small industry, you can make thousands on this if you know where to look. Though, that's I'm wanting to bring them to good caretakers. They emit rare energy and psionics, and they grant abilities. They will talk to you. They're very chatty, especially when the spirit in them are become undormant. Some of them are asleep. You can do all lots of different types of activations to them. They will give you crazy dreams, like the crystal skulls I have gave me the best telekinesis dreams, teleportation dreams, levitation dreams I've ever had. And then I wake up, I'm still talking to the skull and like, yeah, work with us. We'll get you there. And I'm like, oh fuck yeah. I want that. So this is a crazy rabbit hole. So
And those look
people,
so much like these crop circles.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that exactly. I agree. So there's a coming out about it, and some of the symbols which I'll show you and going into these spheres have been depicted on the artifacts being granted to a form of humanity back then. So I think it's a retelling of history, like a disclosure went on back then, and then it's happening again in a cycle. So here's the concept of the boogosphere, which I got to meet personally. Met and became friends with Jaime Maussan and all that, and I went into the scientific tech testing and all that. So here's my friend Mike Forrest. He's Alien Carvings. Go subscribe to him. He's powerful. He's got thousands of artifacts. He's collecting a lot. He went into this skeptical. He's also doing scientific testing. So here's the Boogosphere flying its original video. You know, some people like say, "Oh, it's AI." They're making AI versions of it now, but then no, the original video and they're making fucked up edits of it that make people skeptical. So if you find the
Yeah.
original unedited, then it's like you'll be less skeptical of it. It got shocked by like high voltage currents in a wiring and then fell. And the guy picked it up. He's done conferences and stuff about it. It lost weight over time. It's spinning right now, and the form of levitation been described to me as similar to a static levitation you can look up. It's similar in nature where the spiders will unleash one silk of thread and it will catch in the wind. There's actually static and positive negative ion physics going on with that, and the bigger spiders can do that still. They just go to the tops of trees to do it. Um, and there's the concept of like these jellyfish drones, which I think this is kind of like a surveillance drone. They analyzed it. It emits frequencies as well as reacts to static. It um it reacts with electronics and people and the signal it's giving off. Like here's a video of this inside of the little hole kind of areas at the horizon. It's not actually holes, it's optic cables, and they're kind of black. There's no seam at the center. It kind of looks like it. These other ones might have seams. I don't know. I haven't examined them all. I've just examined this one. It does not have seams. Um, the other skepticism I've heard from Mike Barra is this resembles like propane tanks that are spherical. And it's like, yeah, anyone can make like an aluminum tank like that, I guess, but that's not the point. It's like the more intricate technology and if it's analyzed,
And
like
you
these
you
chips.
did get to hold it, and you
Yeah.
said that it was like, or I mean, like, do you feel? Does it
Oh yeah.
feel like, I don't know.
Oh
What
yeah,
does
I'll
it?
show you that. I got pictures in the next slide. And more people are finding these. Some are being unearthed underground, and some with rare symbols. Let me see if I can cover everything. Um, yeah, it shows indication of intelligent AI in it because of its reaction to others. Uh,
Yeah. What did you
and
get
that's
psychically from it?
a lot. So before I even met it, I had a dream of it descending down in front of me and then talking to me, and then it went into my heart. And I woke up after that and it started telepathically communicating with me. After I went and visited the sphere, I found out that one was a different sphere apparently. So there's multiple of these, and I think multiple species have a different form. Like at the top left, there's like this jellyfish form. There's different drones.
Yeah.
And it wanted to interact with me and it chose me for like some disclosure thing, and it's been upgrading my DNA. Now, multiple species are involved in this one, and here's me interacting with the Boogosphere. The chips also being found on these different skulls that are around. Um, Here's us doing a little activation on it with like sound and like in a group when we went. It's in right now and it's in Mexico City with Jaime Maussan. We showed him a bunch of our artifacts as well while we were there. Um, and yeah, it reacted to us. We had like a frequency monitor to it, and it made different spikes at different times that it wasn't giving off when no one was interacting with it. And unfortunately, it's being kept in like a Faraday cage, I guess, to scientifically cut it off from other frequencies to see what's going on and all that. Though it's some people were saying it's sad or whatever. I don't know if it was exactly experiencing sadness, maybe kind of a form of sadness based on limitation from its greater capability because it emits signals and it interacts with certain things. It was monitoring things on the planet.
As these
Um,
the computer chips, there's a ton of them.
Oh yeah, and for other people that have a skeptical question, like I've heard like, oh, these are suddenly being found more. I have actually seen these before the boogosphere came into the equation, and people have confirmed that as well. They just weren't really paying attention to it because they were
Right.
more interested in the ET artifacts. It's it's just now that everyone knows about it now, they're like, oh yeah, it's the Booga chip, and so there's a bunch of people finding it. Here's a UFO of it being granted to like a humanoid hybrid type species, a sphere with a ritual of you walking around in a circle, and that would summon a UFO, apparently, is what I'm reading off it. And a bunch of UFOs and crystal skulls and cubes. Here, I'll kind of pause a little bit of each of these. These long skulls are found quite often, some with wings, some with feet, some, and some type of mummy kind of thing going on. Yeah, a lot of, things on the crystal skulls. And some of them again have like a crystalline AI in them. Um, there's images of them being granted to people. Some are spheres of like stone, crystal, or metal. There are finding metal ones underground though too. Like this one was found, and there's video of it being unearthed.
So have they put some of these artifacts next to the other Boogosphere? Have they like been do they interact with each other?
Yes. Now it's not super obvious to those that would, not be super psionic about it, but in analyzing, yeah, if you bring any crystal towards each other, crystals, there's a whole science with crystals and like Vogel will go into. Um, Harry Oldfield filters were made as like a video form of photography for the curling photography that reads like auras. And they analyze crystals in a video format over time, and the crystal would react in light bursts. And with other people, it interact with more energy as if it had sentience. So crystals have a form of sentience. And then in piezoelectric effect, which and crystals or silicon chips are most of our technology and recording data, and radios or you wrap a wire around a crystal, emits a frequency and signal. There it goes deep to where these crystals can react as consonants. The elementals in them can talk to you, and the more advanced the technology of them, the more capability to have intelligence. A lot of these crystal skulls, the ancient ones, not the fake ones that are remade. Well, not fake. They're new. They're younger, whatever you want to call them, not advanced. That are replications are the real ones that are being dug up that are ancient have high levels of libraries of knowledge and can learn and do anything you give them in a task pretty much, and advanced consciousness, and will appear to you in dreams and visions and high levels of telepathy. And some people are like thrust into this world where they're contacted by these crystal skulls, and then the skulls ask them to take them places, and there's a whole rabbit hole with that. Um,
Now,
yeah, but
you said some of the skulls seem to be fake,
yeah, absolutely. In that they're modernly made.
right?
And Geo Aliens, if you want to subscribe to him, he's also a friend. We went on a trip. And here's one of the screenshot of a video he put out on like one of the chip-like spheres being dug up as an example, but there are more, and some I'm not allowed to share. And we dug up this cube that was right under an obelisk, which was the first thing sticking up at the top of this big cavern that had a bunch of artifacts, like a whole bunch of crystal skulls. It was amazing. Everyone was smiling, like, holy fuck. And this cube was right under the obelisk, and it looked like it was like an antenna or something. And so, if this has an AI in it, then that would be like a relay to a system of grids that could be all around either Mexico or the Pyramid Ridge, which expand all over the planet. A lot of these places are found near pyramids, hills, mountains, places you'd put an old civilization, rivers, just crazy. And I think they're being found in the US. Like I've heard some are found in Arizona. It's wonderful. So yeah, and here's tablets. This is a little crazy rabbit hole that kind of goes into me and Isa, my girlfriend. Uh, so this middle image of this blanket and stuff, she actually made this 7 years ago. And
Wow.
recently we showed this symbol to a shaman and he's like, oh wow, we know some of those. And I'm like, no way. And we found, some that look like the Boogosphere and stuff. And originally she's like, oh wow, it kind of looks like your design. And I was like, okay. And then we start getting the videos of these sent to us and them being dug up. And we're like, no fucking way. These have to be replicated and fake. And I'm like, oh. And then we kind of use the scientific method. Well, we literally told them 2 days ago about and showed them the symbol. And then they said they have things that have the symbol in 2 days, could
They
you make
replicated it,
this?
right? Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I could make this. And it's not clay, it's a stone. And we're still, so we're really like, it's hard for us to believe this one. And I'm not like trying to prove this. I'm still really skeptical on this one. But
It's crazy.
also, there's tablets being found. Other people on the planet that has nothing to do with us are being found, having them found. Like I mean, other parts of
But I mean,
Mexico and other
even the
people in this
details
group,
of like if they're, it's like identical,
right? And there's a little different. I mean, this one just has the regular circles at the ends, but
right?
some of our more intricate designs
But
have like
that one over there, that looks almost, I mean, and
right.
yeah, it'd be hard to deny that.
Yeah, yeah, there's a little differences. And she's actually we've gotten more of these artifacts since then that have the symbol. She's collecting them. We have a little, if they're real, we're having a little sneaking suspicion as something to do with past lives, and she's has deep crying connections when she gets these. So we were like, oh fuck. So if you have old symbols you made in the past, if you're interested in this field, hold on to your symbols. You might find them dug up someday. There might be some past life crazy shit calling
Yeah,
you.
that's interesting. I've always been a spiral drawer my whole life, so I see
Oh
the spiral.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh lovely then. We'll have to see some of your designs. Maybe I'll be like, oh, I've seen that before. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can show you some of the ones I have here, and then I got a ton on like video I can show you. This little guy is one of the first ones we got. Glows in UV light. I was able to communicate with this a bunch. The dormant spirit, able to activate it. It's like a little cell phone. You can connect to the species when and track back the species. A lot of them are inner Earth. A bunch of them are in stasis pods, interestingly. They're like waiting for something in the future. They're
They tell you what they're waiting for?
yeah. So they have this thing where in like the Russian species book that was leaked of alien species that is like 60 plus, it has a being that looks like this called the Shining Ones, which it is actually a term that's used in multiple groups and extra dimensionals and gods and the Greek gods and the elves and the Tuatha De Danann for Irish mythos because they appear shining. So a lot of things have that term, but this is listed as that. It when I tracked it back and it started talking to me, they have high awareness. They have big technology and like advanced remote viewing, so they were able to find out about me very quickly. And I was able to get information about their species. Their original planet is missing, which is crazy to me. And it's like some weird camouflage temporal space thing going on where it's gone now. And so they got disconnected from that and they're not able, there's a tree of life eminence energy that comes off that grants fertility. So their fertility has been waning over time, and so they're kind of reverting to cloning to keep their species going. And they're able to do time travel, so they go back and forth. A lot of species, a lot of the ones and artifacts had added their genetics to humanity. They see us kind of like these ones anyway. Some have different perspectives. Treat us like a garden and like their children, or like kind of a children. and they want us to do well and grow and overcome problems and advance in constant. As we do, then we eventually have the course to solving their problems and amplifying their fertility, which their cure is bringing a fertility place of power grounds from their planet and bringing it to Earth. And then, our species also has the ability to amplify their fertility and increase it back into where they can have natural birth again. So there's a lot of stuff like humanity can do for these races that are coming to Earth as a cure. And even the dark races, we're kind of like an empathy love trap that can like bring them to goodness. So that's eventually what I think we'll end up doing to these ones trying to limit or control or are afraid of us for what our potential is. Here's a little sarcophagus guy, which is crazy. It's like Egyptian kind of thing going on. But in Mexico again, and these long skulls with like a staff. I don't know what these triangles mean, or maybe this is fire or something, or plasma type of ability. Maybe it's coming off this cone because I've heard of that with like Michael Tellinger and stuff with like levitation abilities.
Oh, right, yeah.
At least Skolin or something. You also went into that with some of your shows. Some wings, UFO, some planets, and Saturn, like going into that the golden age concept of time where Saturn was and Mars and Venus were closer to our planet.
Wow. And look at that little mummy guy.
Yeah, here's this other little long skull guy. Guy's very communicative. He's talked to people in our shows, gone into visions, granted them some cool pocket dimensional tech abilities. So anyone out there in the audience, you feel free to reach out and contact these guys with your intention. Hey, higher self, source, get on that, or you communicate and trade and commerce and stuff. These guys are very nice. I don't really show any. We've only found a few, but like I know other people that have found a lot more that have some negative energies and stuff on them.
Yeah.
But I don't really go for those ones. I
Yeah, I
like
wouldn't
going to
either.
the powerful ones.
So then how
Um,
do you guys plan on, I heard you say mention in one of your shows like about an artifact museum.
yeah, we're starting a museum. That's like the things that go into making this all legitimate and stuff. So we're forming our own thing. What's this? And yeah, more people are doing that. So that's how we branch out disclosure because the elders, when they started first getting these, they started bringing them to museum. They're like, "Oh, thanks," and they said, "We're just not going to show these. We're going to put these in the basement." So there's a big suppression on this for sure. And
Is there a way to get
um,
those back?
they end up stealing them. So then the elders learn not to just give them to them. So now a family of different people are forming, and we're bringing them out in disclosure. Can you see this? I don't know what you can
Yeah, I can
see.
see.
The cube,
Uh,
or is it?
no,
Okay,
I
it's
mean
a
I could
cube.
just see like the
Okay,
thumbnails.
sorry. Let me get up a picture, and then we can go through slides. Um, That's okay. There we go. And yeah, so family forming museums, getting it out there, finding people that are like you that are smart, can't be bought and paid for. This goes into that symbol of Shamash and the it's like alien sky of Thunderbolt project where Saturn, Venus, and Mars are closer and form this cool plasma geometry that we're seeing in the sky. And then people recorded all over.
Yeah, I've been
So
like
it's cave
Sumerian
painting,
have some stuff like that.
carvings and stuff, and these again, a lot of them glow. Here's our other crystal skull. There's a mer person on it with these spheres and some wings and stuff. That was very beautiful, like some corn god, the sphere that is a kind of like a long skull with wings on it and an eye under it. Here's our cube that glows that I showed you before, and I'll show you some video and stuff. I'll see if I can go to a specific one. Oh yeah,
An
I know what I
elephant
wanted
guy?
to show you. Everyone says that. Everyone's like Ganesh, and it might be. So it could be that. This could be a face apparatus. I've seen multiple. Some where it's covering the mouth, some where it's just like a chin strap, like in the Egyptians. So I think there's multiple generations of that, and then them venerating what was old. It might have been its origin like a breathing apparatus for interacting in the environment, some headdresses. But yeah, it could be Ganesh, all that. There's an Anubis-like being and a mer person with a red crystal there. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me go to open you up to something real quick before I go into that stuff. Because it's gonna get a little freaky. So I might as well just talk about that one. 1 second.
Yeah, see it.
What's this? Okay, so there's like I've heard from some people they're categorizing 60 plus species and it getting a little freaky with what kinds because some are soft disclosed in our media a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, let me do that. I did this as a presentation when I went to the Alien event in Las Vegas that I was presenting there, and I was teaching telepathy. So like here's that the screenshot of that little guy from the Shining ones, and here's it glowing in UV light.
Mm,
But so then here's this other concept. Just get through. Okay, here's our one of our UFOs. So yeah, let me just play that. So here, there's the mermaid, there's the dragon, kind of Quetzalcoatl species, an avian with the double eye of Ra on the left, type being, and a long skull with wings and a curly tail, which is interesting.
okay, this is where the dragon comes from. Okay.
Yeah, on the underside is the dragon, and it will show that too. When I open up this ship, I want you to tell me what is the species it looks like, and just give me your guess and all
Okay.
that. And here's a dog on like a long skull with a pine cone and a crystal skull on its hand, and an Anubis species, of course. I was just showing the slides for the because some of the beings want to give people telepathy and amplify it. So what does this look like to you?
Oh, I don't know. That looks like aliens, like those morphic, those. Oh,
Yeah, that's what everyone says. It looks like the baby xenomorph,
yeah, the baby xenomorph. Yep,
like the chest burster thing.
like a
Now
shrimp.
that freaked me out first because I was like, "Oh no, is that a parasite species? What's going on here?" But
Right.
I also was like very fascinated. This is the first one I found. I was like, "Oh my God, does that mean that's real? What is it? What the fuck?" So
The scarab. That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, it's like the one of the gods in Egypt goes into rebirth and death and all that.
I
So
really like the spiral and the triangle. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. At the bottom, there's an AI. There's a crystalline AI in this one too. That was a really hard one to wake up. It did not just take reboot. It was like months of trying different stuff. Like things tried to like destroy the AI in it, so I had to like figure out a whole bunch of stuff to stop that from and try to reboot it, which including things back in time. So here's the concept of like, do you think these xenomorph exist?
Well, I mean, maybe Alien is a disclosure film. I don't know.
Right, right.
I mean, but there
So
is elongated skulls everywhere, which are kind of,
exactly.
I get.
So yeah, there's all these different elongated skulls, but some will have humanoid features or gray or other concepts. So nothing quite went into xenomorph until now. And I've heard concepts of like a 500-year-old church that has like xenomorph depictions on that, though I've heard like maybe it's restructuring or
Yeah,
whatever.
when I was around Palenque, there was I guess they filmed Predator and Alien in some places out there, but they also, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff about the xenomorphs out by the Palenque. So I don't know, maybe there's,
Ooh. Nice. Yeah, I'm going back to planking in a few months, so that'll be cool. I'll check out more of that. Yeah, it's beautiful. So yeah, so for people not to be scared of this and whatever, there are two, apparently with reading into this and having a lot of interaction with these artifacts, there are two different branching of the species. One is an original one that's more divine, more it actually earns divinity and has high levels of psionic abilities. And that one has more indication of moral code and interacting peacefully with things. Though I believe, based on what I'm reading, its DNA got stolen and enslaved and then genetically engineered into a weaponized species, then if it's anything close to our mythos, then that would be a planet killer, which I do read those kind of things. Mostly insectoids are bred with that, like giant spiders and ants and beetles and shit to take over worlds. But yeah, if this is one of those, then there would be two offshoots. So one would be genetic engineered as a kind of like enslaved species. And so some of the baby one I have is more of a nicer. It's like it was giving me the once I got the reboot of the AI up and running, I asked it, "What the hell is this in your ship?" And it told me that the ship, which I'll go back in the images. This represents like the other ship that I showed you. This one, it's like a big car to a bigger ship. And this one's really big, and it apparently is like a genetic library that collects genetic species from multiple planets, and it's showing the main sentient species that donated a bunch of the genetics to the ship as like an arc, and the alien baby thing in the center represents a big. It's not. It wasn't. It was a little wary of telling me what was going on in the big ship it represents, but it told me what it represented in the little artifact, which it was an accumulation of a bunch of soul parts from multiple deities from multiple races and bringing them to the formation of a big collective to be birthed as a womb gestation of a new god, which like, and I was translating words, and it's the equivalent of like of a divinity path being. And so I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And I'm still getting more information about that, so I don't know everything,
And we don't know that
but
it turns into the xenomorph. It could turn it. I mean, because that little shrimp-like thing is kind of what everything looks like when it's like still an embryo.
yeah, yeah, an embryo. And that's the concept. It's a baby thing. And it was telling me based on its interaction, because it's absorbing energy and it's interacting with consciousness around it, it's gaining data, and that will shape how this being forms. And it's not done gestating. So I'm like, oh wow, I better fill. And it like it suggested this too. And I was in the beginning, well, I'm gonna fill it with tons of love and kindness and goodness. And it's like, yeah, do that. That will change it. And so I'm reading it. I'm gonna be kind of like a little bit mother kind of thing with it. Now these other ones, like this crystal skull below is nicer, and this one in the middle, and I actually dug up this ship. It's the middle left that looks kind of weird and has like scales on it. It's like a little octopus ship little thing, and in the bottom part you can see a little xenomorph thing with a tail. That one's a little nicer. Now, the ones on the far left, I read those were more of the weaponized one. And don't think the mythos is exactly the same as what our films do. I haven't checked if they're parasitic and they need other bodies to breed or anything. I haven't really found that, so I can't really confirm that. Though these appear to be like more controlled in some way by whatever like made them and are used to do things like a not to lessen them or anything by saying they're kind of like a dog or anything like that, but they seem controlled, and to where they could be a weapon. That being said, there are more and more of these being found. So that was like, where did Geiger get all these concepts? Did they, because I heard he got them in dreams or whatever. And I have been visited by xenomorphs in dreams, and they were mostly negative though. So they're probably energy harvesting parasite being versions of them, of course, like kind of
Right.
like it. So
Yeah, I just watched they have a TV show now or a series, the Alien, it's Alien Earth or whatever. And I watched the first couple episodes. It's kind of interesting.
right.
It's
Yeah, yeah. What'd you think of it?
I think it's okay. I just it's like it's just kind of like it seems like their only purpose is just to kill. Like I would that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah, like I like Alien, and so I kind of crave the movies. So even if they do shitty, I'm like, okay, at least they got something out, even though it's
Hmm.
I thought Alien Earth, I'm like, okay, this is some interesting plot, but the writing is making everyone retarded.
Yeah.
So I didn't appreciate that. Um, and it's interesting of her connecting to it and being able to control it. I think they could have made the writing a lot better because I don't really
Yeah,
particularly
'cause
like the children.
she's like an AI sort of child AI, which is I don't know. Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. I did, and I like watched some of the critic things after because I had this like little like they because you like my skeptical mind like they could have just done that and then made the writing smarter and why did everyone be
Yeah.
stupid? And then I watched Nerdrotic's review of it and stuff and that like made me feel like oh yeah everyone's seeing it. It was good. So I think I liked his reviews on it
Yeah,
and
Gary's funny.
yeah he's funny. Um, but yeah, I think there's some soft disclosure with it. So it'd be interesting to see if they're getting deeper information in from some source and then bringing it to these media forms because I do believe they do that all the time. Hollywood's been getting acting some weird shit lately though, and so it's kind of like diminishing all their other works, unfortunately. But
I Hollywood feels like it died. Everything's just remakes or prequels or sequels or I don't know. It's gone.
mm, I agree. Yeah, they're on the last legs. They gave into DEI of like BlackRock giving them money to like checkbox in cultural programming, and so they don't seem to care much about the audience, and they just want to get
Yeah.
their money for that, which is just making the audience go away. But which is making people wake up, and then eventually we can make a parallel media and branch it off. I try to read the timelines. Like, is there any way for uh us to take back our Hollywood or get these movies back? And it appears no, they're literally on a suicide path to like wanting to program us because they see they're losing power or something and they're kind of retarded and in their safe space bubble.
I think it's all
So,
it's gonna have to just come down more to like YouTube slash
yeah,
like we're gonna have to become our own Hollywoods. And I guess AI might help make people or let people like you and I make a film if we wanted to easier, but I don't know if people are going to want to I don't know, it's going to be a weird transition.
it's a good point. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think people are gonna like you said, have AI more accessible and then make their own movies. And it's just gonna make people realize they don't need these parasites that are using dark magic on us to program us. And
Right.
we're gonna detach from that because that's apparently how we got to detach from all these systems and then make a parallel economy, parallel media, parallel banking system, all these things. So, and then that's like us going out of survival mode in the root chakra into, can you see this by the way?
I just see the thumbnails. I don't see a video or anything.
Okay, let me get it off then. Yeah, parallel systems like so getting out of the root chakra survival that they're trying to keep forcing us into, getting resilient and then going into the sacral, which is creative and creating all these other systems that are separate. Now, here's a doctor's office I went to in Mexico. Can you see this video?
It's frozen, but
Okay. Is it moving? No?
oh yeah, wow, okay. That's
Uh,
so it has alien beings as you come into the doctor's office.
yeah, yeah, get your checkup, you know. Yeah, he's got a healing table. He does magnetic therapy. He's got a doctor's license. It's fucking powerful. It's crazy. He surrounds the aliens with Jesus statues and stuff. So I think that's kind of a nice little balancing thing between cultures. You gotta, make people feel safe and balance the energy because it's crazy in there, the energy.
Wow. And are
So
these
there's the
actual artifacts, you think? Or
Yeah, yeah, and they're weird composites when they're analyzed. They have some of them have clay, some of them have metal, some of them have iron oxide. Some of that has the iron oxide is from blood, which, like enchantment ceremonies will go like in Japan will go into when they're making a sword and they want to enchant it, they'll make it red hot, then they'll bleed over the sword when it's red hot and it's programmable and they put the intention into the blade. Some of these blades are in museums and they never stop being sharp. And there's some weird effects of this. So this will go, it doesn't have to be bad blood magic, but you can get advanced into the collective conscious with it depending on who made it. Some of these have boobs, so they're like gendered, like here you can see
oh yeah.
on the side. So there's like grays, long skulls. Again, he's got thousands of objects in one office. Here's all
Wow.
these ships, and yeah,
Where did he
these will
find
connect.
these?
He goes out and digs, and he knows where to dig and finds, and he also has like a bunch, like a stacks of CDs of videos he's taken of UFOs. He's been visited before. He would go out every day. He told us and film UFOs, and he's got a YouTube. It's not very well known though.
What's his YouTube channel?
I'll get it to you when I can. It's in like Spanish. I keep forgetting it, but I recorded it.
That's cool.
You got all these little spheres too that
Those-
probably represent like a prayer or something that was made when they see lights in the sky or shooting stars or something. That's what I was reading when I was picking them up. Like a wish upon a star kind of prayer.
mm. Oh, he's got some ships.
Yeah, tons of ships. And again, I was just delighted. I was going around touching these and reading and tracking back where if they connect to a real ship. And a lot of them do, but some of them were destroyed. And that coffin one did not want me to find where it was, so be careful of that one. Um, then yeah, they're all different size and shapes. This one's like the Black Pyramid UFO that was seen over the Pentagon and Russia capital. And that one was crazy. This one connects to one that's in another realm and it's got like Stargate tech in it.
Mm. Wow. Are these all ceramic? Or
I don't think they're ceramic. Some of them have clay in them, but there's weird. Some of them are stone. So some of them are some are I don't know. Would you call ceramic clay? I guess. But if
yeah.
it's a composite with multiple different elements, I don't know. Also, this little guy here. Well, this guy, I've seen concepts of a ET riding kind of a ship with ancient aliens. They'll have things like that. This other guy, he looks like Shrek or something.
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
does.
I've seen this before, like in a children's cartoon, like Gumby or something, and I can't find it. I don't know where.
Huh. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he's got quite the collection.
Yeah, this one's a powerful one too. It's like near Jupiter when I tracked it back. And he's got all these magnets here on the bed. He just covers you with them and does like a big healing on you. Here's some ant people ones, or at least we think they're like ant people. And here's a reptoid with like slitted eyes.
Oh, weird and little pitted.
Yeah, when I checked this back, it was more neutral than like Draco. I don't think it's the same species.
Mm.
And here's like possibly like a star constellation kind of thing. And the guy thinks it might be like an old form of Orion, which in Mayan they like make Orion the turtle and also representation of Xibalba with the Orion Nebula, as like a connection between the underworld and like going afterlife, going off this planet kind of thing. Yeah, all those Christ statues. This one was a really powerful ship.
Oh wow, look at all the little dudes in there.
And some of them, when you look in the little holes, they'll have a little compartment and a person in there. And so that's pretty intricate. This one has time travel tech. Um, Here's some more reptoids. And here's again these thousands of little things. He doesn't know what they are, but like I said, my theory is they're like made every time they see a shooting star, kind of UFO. And sometimes you'll probably have noticed some of the shooting stars make 90-degree turns or
Yeah.
round or, there's some weird stuff with them.
Wow. So
And
did
so
those
like
all come out of any, like, did he find them all separately or all those little things he found in one ship or what?
he's a little cautious with bringing us to the location, but we're gonna try to eventually get him to bring us there. But it appeared with what he said, he found them around the same area. And here in this cabinet, you can see all these DVDs. These are all the UFO videos he's taken over the years.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds like a fascinating dude.
Yeah, right. I can't wait to go back. Um, but yeah, this crazy stuff waiting to come out of the ground, and I think like all over the planet, especially if you read the right place. Most people don't dig, and most people do not dig deep enough and in the right places. So, also some cool things with it for your audience. There's something with consciousness. When we dug, if we're not in the right state of consciousness, we don't find anything. Same thing with other people. When we do a big ceremony, I get the people, you know, doing things, and we trade with the spirits and the land and the artifacts, like support, depossession, clearing, purification, deep wholeness, soul shard retrieval, and like amplification of their soul. They seem to like, and the guys there, they usually will either find nothing or one, two, or three objects. When we went, he was crying because we found like 10 the first time we went. And yeah, I also like doing treasure magic and tracking and stuff. And the places I marked, we'd find objects under it if we dug deep enough in that area. It was great. And I was like so honored and grateful. And also at certain points in the dig, I noticed like this heaviness coming in of like greed or evil or ego and stuff. And then when that came in, I'd stop finding things. And then I meditated and do breath work and cleared all that, and then found things again. So I think there's like this shifting of a hologram, kind of like with a reality where the earth is like birthing objects out of it. And if she approves of you, she'll move things around, you find them or move things away. I've even had this confirmed with other people that are doing digs where they'll do a big ceremony and then they'll like pray in an area and like put their hands on the ground. And like my friend Josh Sizzler, he did this thing, and then I was, what did you do? Why did you do that? And he's like, we're doing a prayer. Like, let's dig right there. And they found something. And also, I know some people that did DMT and they went digging while under DMT and they found crazy stuff. So I think there's definitely like some weird consciousness effect with the planet where you'll find crazy things unearthed when you enter a different state.
Yeah, I had a friend who was a channeler and she like went into like some channel state and was basically like speaking gibberish or like light language or something, and we were at Chaco Canyon and she just sat down on her knees and then stuck her hand in the ground and pulled out a full pot.
What the fuck? Yeah, right.
I was
Yeah,
like, what? We weren't anywhere near like where I don't know. It was just weird, but yeah.
yeah, it gets deep. So I'll just show you a few of these guys. An example, there's this a lot of Egyptian kind of things with it. This is one of our, we call this the tesseract. It glows a full crystal cube, kind of thing.
Obelisk. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and there's an obelisk. Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot to show you this because are you interested in stargates?
Yeah.
Mm.
Who isn't?
So yeah, right. So there's more kind of stargates being found. I'll see if I can find some examples for you. I'll bring up. Um, and of course, there will be concepts of stargates being found, like in the Stargate movie in Egypt and being taken out. Now, I think that has a lot of soft disclosure for some real things. Like I've heard of a project called Project Nile Dawn, where they found a Stargate in the Sudan at the bottom of the Nile, and some connection where a team went through it and they saw the past and UFOs, tractor beaming blocks to make some pyramids. I don't think all pyramids are made that way, but some of them maybe. Um, so there, there's some evidence for Stargates. And I'll show you one as an example that I have. It's very heavy. So there's this guy. Um,
Oh wow,
very
you think
powerful.
that the object itself is like a Stargate?
It's got I read in signatures it as a portal, mostly for communication. I don't know if it actually activates in any plasmic way, but it might. It seemed like it comes off a bigger piece, and it's got all these long skulls around it that are holding it, um, and like
That
spirit
stone?
bodies. Yeah,
What
it's
is
stone.
oh,
Let's see if I can. It's got some interesting structure because it resonates and rings like a bell. And there are ruins on the inside of it. There's Saturn, and on the other end, it's Jupiter. And then UFO right here.
oh yeah, yeah, and I see the moon.
And like, yeah, depending on if I get a good angle with the sun, you can kind of see it better.
Right.
Um, with the winged species, and there's this kind of symbols at the bottom. So would be the front, and Jupiter's right here. And they got kind of like Sumerian garb on them. And this does glow in UV light as well, which I don't, maybe I'll be able to show you that one. But there are some more advanced things. With what I've scanned, multiple types of artifacts. Type 1, let's say, are made by ETs. They're the older ones, and they are the most powerful. And then type 2, let's go into being made by hybrids, them bringing to genetic experiments and some like this going into like I was saying a face apparatus thing, long skull with wings and a tail that goes to mer people. Um, so that'll go into like uh, the Dogon tribe concepts and mer people that are found in different forms. And so I think this species has come in multiple forms. They appear to have made multiple different types of bodies to exist in multiple trains, UFOs, all these kind of things on this. This kind of looks like the alabaster thing that I was talking about.
Wow. That's a very cool skull. The mer people is so cool too. I mean, and I do think there are mer people, and I think they're,
I agree. Yeah, I've had interactions with some when I was tracking back relic species. We're kind of darting all around, but I'll bring up the Stargate thing. Uh, when I was tracking back relic species, I eventually got to like, oh, I wonder if sirens exist, and I tracked a species back to somewhere I'm not really quite allowed to say, kind of near South America. And then it large amount of telepathy coming back from that one, and they're concerned. I also tracked by one off the coast of Montauk. That one was being disclosed by a person called Sauce 90. And I lived in Connecticut, so I was like, oh, that's cool. And I got to talk to him a bit. He if you look up his videos on TikTok, he like has the videos of siren songs when he's out on the ship. So that one's beautiful. And so there's a lot in Montauk, the super soldier thing that's in disclosed in Stranger Things. There are pyramids off the coast of Montauk, and it's like, what's those pyramids interact with in the ocean? There's sirens. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I guess sirens are probably mer people too, then.
Yep. Some I track some coming from Sirius, some of these long skulls, some like that blue people like in Hellboy with Abe Sapien. There are different types of species. Some that shapeshift, that are more humanoid, uh, some that come from Pleione in the Pleiades, and also the Mayan will interact with the Pleiades as they have a star and they point to it in some of their origins. Yeah, a lot of hybridization, and also some that branch off of like the Poseidon Atlantis aspect, though it's a pan-continental civilization, multiple places and leader setups.
And do you think we're
Um,
a hybrid species?
Us hybrid? Oh yeah, super. At least in generality, with what I read on average, 10,000 plus species in each human. Now, every that can give or take, and depending on your lineage, what has been added to it, the experiment has been keep going on. So a lot of my clients, especially if they're rare spirits, um, UFOs, ETs will visit them while they're in the womb in their mother, and they'll add genetics to them, and like having to do with who they are and their plan and destiny and stuff. Yeah, when I talked to the Siren race, I got like a back and forth. They wanted to find out about me and like how I found out about them, and blah 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 blah. And then got
Mm.
their trust. It was deep. It was fast. They amplified my training. I got to meet like I don't know what to say, one of their high level psionic beings or shamans, whatever you'd call it. And they were very powerful telepathy. And then they sent a spirit of a siren to me. And that was to interact with them more and trade. And I said I wanted to help them in certain things. And they gave me a list of things to do for them. And then in trade, they sent a spirit to
And what's
amplify my telepathy, and I could feel the spirit. And it was very visceral, loud, feminine, powerful, and it was giving an upgrade to me, and then that amplified my telepathy a lot more.
what kind of things do you trade with? Like, because sometimes that like you're like, don't give away your soul, don't give away that kind of stuff. So I think it can sound a little bit scary. Like,
Right.
what are you giving? Like what
Exactly.
exactly kind of things do you trade?
Yeah, never give any of your own things. Give services, tune-ups, do performing abilities, healing, clearings, purification, wholeness. A lot of the beings that I do wholeness, I've had where demons attack me and stuff, and then I get them to peace and get them off me, and then they communicate and other stuff. Never give a being your soul. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But also know that that's not the only thing they want. That's just the demon's the biggest thing they want. If any demon like comes at me and or I get it off a client, then I'll like negotiate. Okay, why are you there? And it's like I'm claiming ownership. This person is mine, and I'm like, okay, how do we get you off them? And it's like, give me your soul. I'm like, no, and then I'll get you back your soul because a lot of the demons are fractured. They're like composite beings. They stop being able to create their own light and love, and they steal parts and pieces from other beings, and um, they're dominated in the hierarchy. So I find out what their parts and pieces are, and then I get those back for them in retrieval, and I give them those for them, and they're actually happy with that. So that's an example. If you want to bring a demon to peace with you, soul shard retrieval is taught in shamanism and stuff. I can also teach that for anyone out there. Um, Now, healing services, we are overpowered in emotional body. So a good ability is that a lot of beings aren't that good at is transmutation and emotional influence and control. So some earned beings are overwhelmed with all types of energy that are limiting them and holding them back. We can feel into that well, we can transmute it faster, we can resolve it, influence it, distributed way. So mastering the emotional body is one of the big things for humanity. As the top of the list for your audience that I read for every one of my clients is one of the big purposes. People ask me, what's my purpose? Why am I here? The big thing on all of their list is to achieve a new level of love that no one's really achieved before, that can only be achieved in a human body in this realm. So the big things, and even coming close to that, is immensely powerful because it amplifies every ability. Emotions go into one of the control mechanisms to amplifying ability intention. When you understand what emotion applies to what psionic ability, and then connecting it fully like telekinesis. And you can good ability for people to learn. I'll give people for free is transmutation. So um, any heaviness you practice on your heart, you practice on your own emotions. Trapped emotions, we put negative compartmentalized units of emotion to a little box to take care of them later if we're going through trauma or wounds or stuff.
Mhm.
Yes, they're anchored into hormones, but that's like the carrying system that amplifies, that's going through the blood to distribute and be felt more deeply. There are also systems in the heart electromagnetic field that feel into emotions, and the gut brain, especially, which is 70% of the neurons in our body, and they mostly process emotion. That the sacral is the center point, a little bit below the belly button of the emotional body. And that has the motion body control center, the empathic control center, these little hands that you go off and feel things, emotional programming, portals, all kinds of stuff. And getting that up into gear, when you clear your emotional body to its pure state, you can feel and sense and translate things very quickly. It amplifies into knowingness. Empathy is the gateway to oracleship. And so you feel the heavinesses on your heart one at a time, whichever one is coming up the largest. You see yourself hugging around it. You can just hug yourself or hold the area. They're usually stored in the organs or the ego, which centers in the solar plexus or their emotional body center. If you're really overwhelmed, like with sadness, hold that area and give it focus and start bringing it, breathing into it, giving it light, purifying it. And you can see it like give the heaviness, give it size and scale. Love contains all the nourishment it needs to turn it into what it wants to become. Transmutation is like in alchemy, there's different types of elemental transmutation, like fire is calcination, separation is wind, conglagulation is earth, and water is dissolution. And so there's different aspects internally that when we look at alchemical shifts in like chemistry, we it changes our consciousness. We can then understand the inner equivalent of that and then do that ourselves, like shadow work when we take negative things in ourselves, darkness, which are like dormant stars in our universe, and give them love and support and embrace them, or separate the negative aspect of them and then turn them on as like the light inside them, and it turns on more of the light inside us, getting rid of more of the influence of dark to have over our lives, which only has power over our anchored darkness. And then we're transmuting to a greater self that's indicated in the phoenix in alchemy. So you're transmuting all the negative emotion into the fertilizer for your garden of happiness. You can turn sadness into resilient happiness. You can turn anger into power. You can turn pain into healing. You can turn all of these things into different magics and abilities. And usually you start in the opposite. So you can like look up on like thesauruses on like powerthesaurus.com, the opposite antonym of each emotion, and get the list of different types of emotions because some we don't even realize we're having. They're kind of hard to translate. And then we figure out what they are, give them love and support, and get them to like us because each of these energies has a little fractal, small aspect of consciousness. And we're giving it love like a parent, getting us to like us, giving it attention. And then it's like shrinking down, like your higher self is hugging around the big ball, shrinking it down until all the heaviness disperses into the lighter aspect. And you're doing this now, and people in the audience, and until it's all gone away. And then you'll feel that heaviness go away. You'll feel lighter, more energy, all this different positive effects. And then you do this more and more to all these things we're holding on to, these heavinesses, and then it all turns into these cool magics. And some of them need you can't transmute, you need to distribute them away to the original purpose. Some are dumped onto us, some need to be destroyed or whatever if it's too far gone evil. And then there's all these different abilities. And as you clear your emotional body, you can sense and feel and intuit it more easily. And a lot of species aren't good at this, so we can do it for them, and they'll trade. And there, as you gain more abilities, you have more to trade, and it's mostly services. And if you're trading the ability, you can just trade a copy. It's not like you're giving anything away.
Okay. That's cool. That's really interesting. I like that. I mean, I think that gives people a clue as to like what you can train them, and also another framework that they can think of for yeah, if they sense that something's not 100% them, what they can do to kind of uh suss that out and fill it into how you can actually get it moved on, transitioned in a good way.
Okay.
So that's super
Yeah.
cool, John. Okay, well, I think we've given people a lot of stuff to think about and talk about. And yeah, okay, so tell us about you're doing some tours
Oh,
and
thanks.
yeah, some of the stuff yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And I'll love you to plug your stuff as well. Um, Yeah, so I'm Sean Bond, Psionic League, Psionic League YouTube, psionicleague.com, psionicleague@gmail.com if you want to reach me. If you want to go into trip inquiry, if you send that the Gmail, it's PSIONIC with League like Justice League. And we got a lot of superhuman abilities there on the YouTube, so you'll just watching them in evidence. Of course, there are people that fake it, but just one you get and it goes into the opening up this world. And then your subconscious downloads the blueprint from what you see if it's real. So then it starts unfolding over time, and then you can reverse engineer it. Now, if you're interested in trips, we do sacred journeys of multiple groups to like pyramids, place of power, places that unlock superpowers, divinity, amplifying your greatest self. Next, we're doing Mexico. Then we're gonna eventually do Egypt, maybe some Japan and Ireland, maybe sync up with you and stuff.
I should think of
And yeah, exactly. So like look forward to that. And we'll do multiple shows and stuff and going into if you're interested in the things like the ET artifacts. Yeah, hit me up because they're trying to find good caretakers and people that bring out disclosure. So yeah, feel free to hit us up about that. And if you're interested in interviews, hit me up. I'll bring you out a bunch of goodies and can connect you with a lot of people I know. And yeah, I also do trades and formats for people. It's not just about money with me, so feel free to hit me up. But of course, I do consultations, so you can ask anything you want. Clearings, healings, depossessions, unlocking your dormant abilities in your inner school, finding out who you are, past life readings, purpose, going into unlocking abundance and releasing the money magic curses, Babylonian money magic system, the matrices and things that limit people from supporting their life so that many things can abundantly flow in their life, people, places, things, money, whatever, also they can support their life to meeting their dream and not be distracted by into survival, memory, retrieval, going into some SSP stuff if you're into that. So there's some big worlds in that. Any ability you can think of, I can get you on the pathway to getting that. A lot of them I've learned myself and are working up from the easy ones going up to the higher ones. And yeah, I can help you get on. And I do a lot of healing, can release pain from a distance from pretty much anyone, resolve trapped emotions, help people's trauma, really good with emotional body, turning on the third eye, teach telepathy, so many more. I keep forgetting them all. But yeah, and yeah, just hit me up and we'll sync up. I love becoming friends with more people. I'm also on Facebook, Sean Bond. You can Instagram, X, a lot of stuff. How do people? Oh, and I'm going to the Bridge Expo in Wednesday in Dallas with Rion's conference. So feel free to come there if you have time. and some other conferences coming up. So hit me on that. Working on a book. How do people how do people reach you? And
Okay, yeah, I'm Nikkiana Jones, and on Twitter, I think it's anyway. If you put Nikkiana Jones, it'll come up on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, and then I'm on. I mainly post on Twitter and YouTube, and then I have it on all my different podcasts. And I'm kind of like the Oprah of Strange. I interview people who are on the fringe that have cool like alternative ways of looking at reality. And I really specialize a lot, I would say, in the megaliths and some of the you know eh, the commonality of the buildings, and that's what I tend to focus on the most. But I offer tours from time to time, and yeah, I don't do psychic healings with anybody, but
yet.
yet. But anyway, like yeah, I have a I mean, I don't know, 300 plus episodes and stuff for people to dig into. I'm like a master researcher, and like it's a lot of stuff goes deep and really nuanced, and it might bore you, but you will. It's like I have a new way of learning. Like I am going to you unlearn everything you think you've learned. So that's what my thing's about. And so yeah, that's where you can find me.
Lovely. Yeah, and we'll if you guys like this show, smash that like, leave a lovely comment, subscribe to both our channels, Nikkiana Jones, Sonic League, and yeah, share this out on Facebook. The more people see this, the more disclosure will expand. You'll be getting karma upgrades, good karma, and some upgrades for my higher self, and yeah, the more people that see this and like it and will want to do more of these shows. So get us to motivated, and we got tons to talk about. We didn't even get to go into megaliths. I can't wait to talk about that. I
No, we
talk
have to
about
have we have to have a round two because yeah, we got stuff to talk about.
exactly, like I went into Anne and we analyzed a lot of the places you went to in your Japan trip. So I wanted to share those with you and stuff. So that'll be fun. And we can go into like that concept for people so that they know what they can look to. And also, definitely want to talk about the unicorn stuff, wink, wink, and the dragons. And there's so much to talk about, so I
There's
can't
a
wait.
ton to talk about. Yeah. All right, Sean. Well, until next time, we'll talk again soon. But don't get off yet because I'm just gonna say goodbye and
Yeah.
then yeah. All right. So bye.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Cool. All right, and then I will pause.